And there. Nope, that's wrong. All right. Just wanted to clear my throat there. Hi, everybody. Welcome in. It is the Rant. Pugs Moran here for a Tuesday afternoon live from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the beautiful, beautiful south side of Chicago on what is a winter afternoon. That's right. It's cold here again. Just a couple of days ago, it was like 60 degrees, and now suddenly it is cold here again. Join the chat room, won't you please? Come one, come all. Maddie's there, of course. Peter's there. Jen's there. Hi, Jen. Come on. I need more. We got a little bit of a late start today. Hold on. Wait a second. I don't like this. Something's crazy. Never mind. We're not going to get distracted by that. I was going to tell you something's weird about my restream setup, but we don't like that. I do need to offer you an apology. A little bit late coming on today. I know, a little bit later than usual. Every day we start about 12:05, 12:06. You never start exactly at noon. Nothing you have ever done started at exactly the time it was supposed to. You've never been to an 8:15 movie that started at 8:15. You've never been to a concert that began at 7 that started at 7. No, I mean, it's keep them waiting. So there's always a couple of minutes of last second things that we do before we go live. Today took a little bit longer. You want to know why? I can't blame him. He gets good grades. So I'm not going to be. I was texting with my son. I was texting with my 16-year-old son who's in class right now. And he sent me a picture that was taken from O'Hare International Airport. And it is a picture of Chicago Bears quarterback Caleb Williams picking up Las Vegas Raiders defensive end Max Crosby at O'Hare International Airport. The reports now are apparently that Max is just coming to Chicago for a few days to hang out with Caleb to see if he likes it. Let's go! So my son is texting furiously. He's like, time to do our magic. It's silly season in the NFL, that's for sure. Silly season is when we allow ourselves to dream and dream big because, hell, it's the off season. And, by the way, the off season, take it from me. I'm a fan of a team that was a three-peat. We three-peated the Chicago Bears. We three-peated the off season. We were off season champions 3 years in a row. And now the only way you get to be the off-season champion is you have to fucking suck. You have to really suck. And so we sucked, and it was rough, but we won the off-season, and now we have a team that we're very excited about. So hope springs eternal, everybody. It is silly season on the eve. It's not even the eve. I was going to say it's the eve of the combine starting down there in Indianapolis. It's not even the eve. They don't start doing shit down there until Thursday. Thursday is when you'll see, a bunch of dudes running around in their underwear, jumping as high as they can and run. I love the combine. I'm a combine freak. I love the off season, man. There used to be, this is the genius of NFL football and how it has absolutely captured us here in America. Think about your grandpa. Maybe your grandpa was a diehard New York Yankee fan back in 1957 or whatever. When the baseball season ended, that was fucking it for like 9 months, right? Or football. Maybe he was a football fan. Maybe he was a fan of the Green Bay Packers back when Lombardi was at the helm. Maybe that's your family history, whatever. When the season was over, you guys were done. The NFL has been able to capture all 12 months, all 12 months of the year. It ain't just that they own every Sunday between Halloween and, wherever. No, well, actually before Halloween. They own the off season too. We've created this exciting thing. I said a couple of years ago, I think it was it was last year. It wasn't a couple of years ago. It was last year. Hard Knocks, the partnership between HBO and the NFL, where they create this reality series about a team every year. What's going on? Oh, that's Ed. Okay. I was about to freak out. I'm like, oh, Ed's in here. Hard Knocks now has 3 different editions. There is Hard Knocks Classic. Yeah, this is also all a long way of me to explain and to kind of show how brilliant the NFL has done, or what a brilliant job the NFL has done as far as, keeping our interests even in the offseason. So there was preseason. Preseason's easy. We get excited because it's starting and we get to see our guys, and that's fun, but it was always preseason. So at the end of the day, it was like, the season was the thing. Hard Knocks debuted, again, the partnership between HBO and the NFL, years ago, 25 years ago at this point now, and it was just a preseason show. It was camp with, and then, the teams. It was every other season, it was the Cowboys, because Jerry Jones is such a whore. He's like, put my team on TV. So every other fucking season for the first 10 years was like Cowboys, but okay, I digress. Then they did a second edition of Hard Knocks, right? Right around the time when everybody was going, Hard Knocks kind of sucks now. Remember when that happened? That happened like about 10 years ago. People started going, Hard Knocks kind of sucks now. I don't like Hard Knocks anymore. Hard Knocks, it used to be really cool, and then it got really lame, and we all kind of were like, we don't like Hard Knocks anymore. So they gave us something new. They gave us Hard Knocks in season. Edition 2. See, now we're watching. Now, not only, the idea with Hard Knocks was, we're going to try and get you excited about preseason football. We don't have to get you excited about in-season football, because in-season football is what we're all here for. But we're going to ramp it up and get you all jazzed up about the preseason. That was the initial intent of Hard Knocks. Then they just moved straight into the season. And I'm like, why do we need this in the season? Why? We've got the season next. But I like it. I like Hard Knocks in season. That is where they will pick a division about, I think usually this starts around November. They will pick a division and they will just hyper-focus on all 4 teams in the division and watch the race for the postseason. It's actually quite brilliant. And I really enjoy in-season. So I like both versions. Then last year, they gave us the off-season. Hard Knocks off season. And I have to admit, I scoffed. I thought, this is stupid. I go, we're going to make celebrities out of team accountants? Well, what the hell is this all about? Fascinating. My absolute favorite version of Hard Knocks now is off season. They did it with the New York Giants. It's the only one I've seen. I don't think they did it off. Wait a second. Was that 2 years ago or 1 year ago? Man, they showed us. They showed the New York Giants screwing Saquon Barkley. Screwing themselves, as it turned out. But they showed all of that go down. It's fascinating. So if you love that stuff. Anyway, that's why we're late, because my son and I are bouncing off the wall at the idea that for the next couple of days at least, Max Crosby and Caleb Williams are going to be running around in Chicago together. And we like that. That shows a willingness. Whatever. Anyway, we're very excited. I'm trying to fill time because Ed's, doing stuff. He's trying to fix this because Ed does a great job, and he's always there when we need help here on the show. That's the changes that you're watching on the screen as I just kind of scream and rant. Running out of things to say, though. So, let's see. Don't want to mess with the chat room. All right. We got Peter. Peter's in the chat room. Hi, Peter. Is everybody telling their friends? Is everybody promoting? Peter, I didn't see you forward the show. I need you to forward the show. We got Jeff Ballard. We got Eddie Haggerty. He's back. We've got Adam is in the chat room. We got Jen in the chat room. Can I see the other chat rooms? Well, do we like that better? I mean, can I just say, I guess we do like that, but do we like this better? Chat room? Let me know in the chat room. Ed has just done some work. He has turned it from translucent into sort of a black block, which I'm fine with. I don't care. Okay, it's fine. At first, I thought it was weird, but Kevin's in the chat room. Hi, Kevin's here. Thank you, Peter. Peter says he forwarded it. Maddie, I hope you forwarded it. Kevin, did you forward the show? Peter, did you forward the show? Jeff Ballard, did you forward the show? Eddie Haggerty, tap into some of that Andrew High School keyboard. There you go. Mic is on. That's another thing that we deal with. The mics go out and the cameras go out, and I got to reset it, and I don't know why it does, but Restream just does that once every couple of shows. So we will muddle through is the word I'm looking for. Let's see. Battling a toothache. All right. I'm going to pull the curtain back. I'm going to let you know what's going on. I am battling a freaking toothache. Okay. I go to the dentist. I don't have dental. Are you fucking kidding me? Dental. Do you know what kind of an add-on dental is? I don't have vision either, which is why I was sweating my driver's test when they're like, you're going to have to take a vision test. I'm like, oh, shit, I'm probably going to need glasses, and I don't have dental or vision. Neither. Anyway, so I did a thing that I feel like our forefathers did. Last night I had a horrible toothache, and it was keeping me up. And I took like 4 melatonin. Oh my God, I must have had 12 ibuprofen between like 6 o'clock at night and midnight. It just wasn't working, and it's goon. You know, you have that throbbing thing. I don't know what happened. I just eventually fell asleep from exhaustion, and I woke up and the throbbing was gone, but I could still feel it. I know there's something there. Like I can feel it. It's not throbbing anymore, which is good. So we'll see. It'll probably wait to start throbbing again when I go to bed. But that's what I'm dealing with. Here, show you what I'm using. When I say I probably did what our forefathers did when they had a toothache, what I mean to say there is just fucking ignored it and hoped that it would go away. And guess what? I went to sleep and it did. So I'm using the Kanka. I don't know if you guys know what Kanka is. It's like a benzo drop, I think. I don't know. What is it? Mouth pain? What's in here? Yeah, it is. Look at that. It's benzocaine. All right, it's just a little benzo right there. Just put it all over the gum and we're good. I can talk. All right, everybody's thanking Ed. Jeff says there's no sound, but we have to believe that we fixed that, right? That's Jeff from pre-delay. Pre-delay Jeff saying there's no sound. I think I caught that pretty quick. All right, what are we going to get into today? We got a bunch of stuff. Let's see. Let me run down the page here. We're going to talk, we're going to start out Mexico. We'll get you caught up on what's happening there in Mexico. We're going to talk about Iran. We got some stuff going on there in Iran that we've got to be paying attention to. Apparently not everybody's on the same page, at least not on our team. Got a State of the Union tonight. We're all going to watch that, the State of the Union. This will be a fun one. I think it's, well, first of all, they're always fun ones. Look, if you're a patriot, maybe fun is the wrong word. Like if you love America and you believe what we were raised to believe that America stood for, you know, the shining light on the hill and all that stuff. If you believe that, then, you know, maybe fun isn't the right word for the State of the Union, but it ain't going to be boring. I'll tell you that. I don't think it's going to be boring. We're going to get greatest hits. We're going to get a list of grievances. What I'm most interested in is the Supreme Court. I want to see what, you know, because they sit in the front row there. Trump just got sideways with the Supreme Court. So we're going to see if he's like, hey, look at you, you old bag. Is he going to do that? Is he? All right. So we'll talk about that. What else do we have? Epstein stuff. We've got some interesting Epstein stuff. There's a big story breaking. Of course, all the real stories now about Epstein. I've been telling you for a long time. You want to watch, if you want to get political news about America, I hate political news in America. Political news in America is filtered through a prism. Everybody is trying to capture whatever specific political partisan demographic they've targeted. So that's what happens here in America. So we get nothing but bullshit. We get one guy saying one thing and then some lady saying a direct other, and then they yell at each other, and then they take a commercial break, and we'd all think, wouldn't it be nice to go on a Carnival cruise? That's the fucking level of discourse in this country as it stands, politically anyway. You watch Sky News or you watch BBC and you watch their political coverage of America, and it is so much more fascinating because they don't have any horses in that race. It's the same thing now we are seeing over there where it concerns the Epstein case, because the Epstein case isn't just a specifically American situation. It is affecting dignitaries, important people, the powerful global elites from all over the world. And it really does seem, if you take a look at the way specifically the United Kingdom is handling this, they're doing it the way it needs to be done. Not here in America. We look terrible by comparison. So, of course, some big breaking news coming out of England concerning Jeffrey Epstein and some hidden storage lockers that are scattered throughout the United States. We'll talk about that. That's interesting. We're going to get into the whole beef, no beef. Is this a real thing or is this bullshit between the Pope and J.D. Vance? I'm wanting to talk about this. Big story that was circulating over the weekend was J.D. Vance got on a plane and flew to the Vatican and had delivered an invitation to the Pope for the July 4th celebration, and the Pope said no. All right, so that's the way it was presented to us. We'll talk about how that really went down and what are the facts behind the Pope and J.D. Vance and whatever the hell it is they're going through. Trump's talking about aliens. We'll get into that. Trump's selling watches. We'll get into that. We're also going to dive into this story that's bubbling over today. This was the first thing that I saw when I woke up. Boy, it was all over Twitter this morning. Candace Owens has gone to absolute war with Erica Kirk and the whole Turning Point thing. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to watch Candace Owens, who is, she really does test like I have a theory. My theory when it comes to women is that, and don't be like, oh, you're so misogynistic. You women have the same thing. You women have the same. I haven't even told you what it is yet. You women, when you see a guy, if a guy is hot, you suddenly allow for a certain degree of assholery from the guy. If he's hot, you do. I'm sorry. Well, we guys do the same thing. We guys do the same thing, but it's not necessarily assholery. It's crazy. It's crazy. Men will accept a certain level of crazy as long as the husk that the crazy is contained in is physically attractive to us. If we think it's a hot person being crazy, we will allow that girl to be just a little bit crazier than we would a fuddly girl. Anyway, Candace Owens is really blurring the line there for me because I think she's absolutely gorgeous, but also frighteningly scary. So we'll check in on that. We'll go into the whole Candace Owens and Erica Kirk situation that's happening today. We're going to talk about the worst white people in America. That's right. I figured it out. I've gotten the area, the metro area. We're going to do a whole expose on the worst people. Well, not people, the worst white people. And there's all different, but where can we find the absolute most objectionable white people in America? It's the state of Ohio. And we've got a whole expose on 2 citizens of the great state of Ohio that are just repping bad white people to the best of their ability. Tucker Carlson, too. I want to talk about him. I wanted to get into this on Friday, but unfortunately we had to cancel the show on Friday. Tucker Carlson and this whole Israeli airport hoax. It's fascinating. It is really a fun, crazy story. If you're old like me, it's got serious Morton Downey Jr. being attacked by Nazis at the San Francisco airport vibes, and so we'll dive into that. Tucker's being called out. Tucker's being called out by everybody, but doesn't matter because Tucker Carlson has never had any accountability applied to anything he's ever done. So whatever, he got the initial bump from it. So we'll talk about that. What else do we have? Don't want to do that. Maybe we'll get into some talk about some fraternity stuff. There's I'm not a big fan of frats, right? Now, I'm a big fan of hanging out with frat guys. Like, that was my thing in college. All of my friends were in fraternities. I was not. I didn't, I'm not going to go stand in a basement and let dudes throw fucking buckets of water. I'm just not. It's not. Sorry, guys. Just not the kind of man I am. Fuck you. What? Talk to me like that. So as you can see, I wasn't really built out for the fraternity system of being a fucking cuck for no reason. Anyway, that's just me. But all my friends were in frats, and I was in good standing with them. And I went to all the parties, and I enjoyed it. And everybody just kind of assumed I was in the frat. But I wasn't. I was only in for the parties, not for the bullshit. So when we get a little bit of time here at the end of the show, we're going to talk about a situation that happened at the University of Iowa. Or wait, is this Iowa State? Anywhere, it's somewhere out there. Let's see, it's it's University of Iowa. Go Hawkeyes. All right, Jeff, we got a story for you. Jeff Ballard out there. All right, plus we got a whole bunch more stuff that we're going to get to, but we're going to start out today. We've got big breaking news. Well, that's not big breaking news, but it is a way to get started because it's a story that I've been wanting to talk about. Oh, by the way, first and foremost, one more time, let me make sure that we give credit where credit is due. Our executive producer, at least for the rest of this week, is Heidi, the incredible Heidi. Heidi tipped the show to the extent a couple of weeks ago where she paid for the whole fucking month, and it's just, I've never received a tip like that before, and all I can tell you is that Heidi rocks. So thank you, Heidi, for getting us right. We were behind the 8 ball. She got us all caught up, and now we're right where we need to be. If you want to tip this show, if you want to support this kind of daily talk radio, nonpartisan, it's non-political. Liberals think I'm a fascist, and fascists think I'm a libtard. So I'm like, normal. I'm like in the middle. Join us, and if you support that kind of thing, nobody else does. Can't find it on radio. Radio's all far right wing talk, whatever. Carry the water, sign the contract. These are the things you're going to talk about. You got to do that. I won't do that, even though I've been on major market radio since 1992. I won't do that. So I'm here. I'm shouting at clouds, and you people are with me for 5 years now. Thank you, folks. Tip the show if you support this kind. Okay, here's what we're going to get started with. We've got... I'm obsessed with death. I wouldn't say that I love death. I would say that I am endlessly fascinated by the idea of death, everything that surrounds death, right? But I've had a lot of death in my life, a lot of death. Like my first experience as a human being was probably death. My father was killed when I was 6 months old. So from my earliest understanding, I was aware of mourning. I was aware of sad people. So anyway, in the last 5 years, I can honestly say that 4 of my closest friends have died just in the last 5 years. Just some of them we knew, some of them we want. I'll tell you, Bruce, my buddy Bruce X, died of cancer. That one sucks. You guys all 105.3 people, you all remember Bruce. Bruce owned porn companies. He wasn't a porno actor or anything like that, but he invested heavily in Vivid and all these other porn companies back in the early days, and he did quite well by himself. And Bruce was an amazing man. Bruce was the greatest businessman I've ever known. That dude. Anyway, we miss Bruce. Lost Bruce. Again, this is all in the last 5 years. I lost Bruce. I lost Paco. Paco, who was a writer and a producer and a sidekick for years on the old Pugs and Kelly show. Paco was one of the funniest people and one of my absolute favorite human beings. He was such a misanthrope. He was everything about Paco was the darkest possible. And he was so funny. He was so funny with it. And Paco got it by cancer too. Paco, I never got the real full story on. I mean, I know what he was suffering from. He had cancer for quite a long period of time. He was very sick for a period of time, but I think COVID finally got him. Then my buddy Mike Jahara. Eddie Haggerty, but Kevin knows, some people in the chat room know Mike. Mike fucking fought the cancer too. And, cancer cannot be stopped sometimes. So we lost Mike. And then, of course, Kelly. Kelly, who was my sister. I mean, this is all within the last 5 years. So I'm obsessed with death, as we all know. I'm okay with it. I'm comfortable with it. I don't fear it personally or, existentially in the world. But we do like to keep track when celebrities die. And let me tell you something on this show for years now, going all the way back to the 90s, I've been obsessed with the death trilogy. Celebrities, we all know this, they die in threes. Why? Well, there is a reason why. People are like, why would that happen? Well, because in heaven, you see, there's a celebrity wing. It's an entire gated community. It's all condos. It's on the water. It's beautiful. They jet ski, play tennis. But you see, celebrities aren't like us, so they all have to be kept together. See, you're not going to die and go to heaven and be in a bar and meet Elvis. That's not going to happen for you. If it wouldn't have happened for you here, So anyway, the celebrity wing, they have condos, 3-bedroom condos, and celebrities die in threes because once they die, they all have to move into a condo together forever. And I've been tracking this for years. So The year started out 2026. We are, by the way, we've begun our 6th death trilogy of 2026. That means 18 celebrities, major celebrities, or people that I think should be considered celebrities, have passed. This was a slow start to this year. I think that the first celebrity died on the 7th. I believe it was Bob Weir. Bob Weir of the Grateful Dead was our first celebrity who died in 2026. Who did Bob Weir go in with? Let me see. Okay, yeah, the first death trilogy of the year was, let's get all the way up here. All right, the first death trilogy of 2026 was Bob Weir, Scott Adams, and Major League Baseball Hall of Famer, knuckleballer Wilbur Wood. Bob Weir, Scott Adams, and Wilbur Wood. That's the first death trilogy. Death trilogy number 2 was Francis Buchholz. He's the guitar player for the Scorpions. Scorpions! Guitar player for the Scorpions died on the 22nd of January. He was followed by nationally syndicated sports columnist and personality Terry Boers, 75. Terry died of cancer. Then on the 24th of January, the third person going into this death trilogy is Alex Preddy. Yeah, now that's a weird one because Alex Preddy wasn't famous before he died. So, he still gets to go in as a celebrity because he'd be bothered. People who die, like if you're a normal person dies and you're in a bar in heaven and it's Alex Preddy, you'd be like, hey, you're famous. He can't be bothered by that. He's got to go with the other celebrities. So it's the dude from the Scorpions, a sports writer, and Alex Preddy was death trilogy number 2. Number 3, we had what's his name? Not Meathead. Meathead died last year. What's his name? Big Dummy. That's right. Lamont Sanford died on the 30th day of January. Lamont Sanford, Desmond Wilson, died at 79. He died on the 30th. He was joined on the very same day by the great Catherine O'Hara. And then they were joined in their little celebrity 3-bedroom apartment by Charles Negron. Jeremiah was a bullfrog. Is that a 3 Dog Night song? I don't know. That guy had a great voice. Charles Negron, lead singer, 3 Dog Night. That's your third death trilogy. The fourth one, Sonny Jurgensen, Tracy Scroggins. Sonny Jurgensen, legendary football player. Tracy Scroggins, legendary Detroit Lions football player. And on the 11th, that trilogy was finalized by the introduction of James Vanderbeek Dawson. That's a very football room. That's you got a football quarterback, you got a football defensive tackle, and you've got James Vanderbeek, of course, who starred in Varsity Blues. The fifth death trilogy of 2026 was Bud Cort. He's an actor. He's Robert Altman Films, Harold and Maude. Bud Cort was great. Bud Cort was joined by Robert Duvall and then Jesse Jackson. That's death trilogy number 5. Bud Cort, Robert Duvall, and Jesse Jackson. I bet you Robert Duvall and Jesse Jackson are going to argue about stuff. I don't really know how Bud Cort's going to figure into that because he's kind of quiet and weird. But Robert Duvall, I see Robert Duvall and Jesse Jackson arguing about shit for all eternity. All right, that brings us to this one. We've got a brand new death trilogy that we can close out today here at the start of the show. On the 19th of this month, February, the 6th death trilogy of the season, the year 2026, was began by actor Eric Dane. Eric Dane. I don't know Eric Dane. This is Eric Dane. These are the ones we're covering now. I mean, I know the name, right? Like the name is like, oh, that's an actor's name, but I'm not really. All right, here. Yeah, I'm looking at him and I'm like, he's like Josh Duhamel. That's okay. Eric Dane is like, okay, Josh Duhamel. There you go. Back to my celebrity. Hold on. Eric Dane. Is this Eric Dane? That's not Eric Dane. There's Eric Dane. All right, there he is. Yeah, he's like a Josh Duhamel clone, right? They needed 2 of them. There he is, Eric Dane. I don't know him from, I think I know him from things, but I think I know him from things that I credited Josh Duhamel for. Oh, no. Look at him. He was sick for a while. Poor guy. Handsome guy. Grey's Anatomy. There you go. I don't know Grey's Anatomy. I don't watch Grey's Anatomy. Eric Dane. He died. He died just a couple of days ago. He was very sick, obviously sick for a while. So he's been granted sweet relief. A couple of days later, actually 1 day later, Major League Baseball Hall of Famer and one of the biggest bomb blasters of all time, Big Bill Mazeroski. That's right, Maz. Pittsburgh Pirate legend, multi-time World Series winner, Chicago White Sox legend, Bill Mazeroski, 89 years old, American Hall of Fame baseball player, World Series champion in 1960, 1968, 1971. There he is. Maz joins Eric Dane in the Death Trilogy. All right, so that's 2. This is the most recent one. So the big news today, we woke up this morning and we learned that another Carradine has passed. That's right, the legendary Hollywood family, the Carradines. Who do we got? Well, we got Robert, who sadly passed away today at the age of 71. Actually, I don't even know that it was today. It was reported today, and it was suicide. He killed himself, Robert Carradine. Who do we know? How do we know Robert Carradine? I know I was about to do a pecking order of the Carradine brothers because there's so many of them. They're like Arquettes. There's always another one. He was Lewis from Revenge of the Nerds. Maybe you remember him from that. Also, if you're younger, apparently he starred on a show called Lizzie McGuire, which I've never seen. I mean, I've heard of. I know that it's like a tween show. But again, I'm a grown-ass man. I don't need to be watching Disney Channel tween shows or Nick or whatever the hell that's on. Robert Carradine. Let's find out a little bit about him here. Let's see. Robert Carradine played the lead actor of Louis Skolnick in the 1984 classic Revenge of the Nerds. Let's see. Do we have anything more on him? He was bipolar. Let's see if we can get the details. I know that I got the details somewhere. Oh, here we go. Okay. Robert Carradine, a beloved member of the storied clan of actors. Carradine was the bedrock of his family, according to surviving older brother Keith Carradine, but he struggled for 2 decades with bipolar disorder, and ultimately it got the best of him. The Carradine family issued this statement to Deadline. They said, "It is with profound sadness that we must share that our beloved father, grandfather, uncle, and brother Robert has passed away." Here, I'll show you who Robert Carradine, just so we know who Robert Carradine is. Actually, should I just show you all the Carradine brothers and then we'll try and pick out Robert? No. We'll give the man his due. There we go. Robert Carradine. All right, this is who we're talking about. Bipolar disorder. That's what he succumbed to. Okay. All right, there he is. All right, there he is. There's Lewis. Look at him. Poor guy. All right, let's continue on with the story from Deadline Hollywood. Keith Carradine said the family wanted to know about what he called his brother's valiant struggle. Keith Carradine said that the entire family wanted everyone to know about Robert's valiant struggle. "We want people to know, and there is no shame in it," he said. "It is an illness that got the best of him, and I want to celebrate him for his struggle with it and celebrate his beautiful soul. He was profoundly gifted, and we will miss him every day. We will take solace in how funny he could be, how wise and utterly accepting and tolerant he was. That's who my baby brother was." Robert Carradine is survived by his children, grandchildren, brothers, nieces, nephews, and anyone who had the honor of having him in their life. His family asks for privacy at this time. He was born in 1954. Carradine was the youngest son of actor John Carradine. Wait! Hold on. Who was John Carradine? All right, I knew they were brothers. Oh, geez, now we got to do John Carradine, huh? All right, let me see. Who was the dad? Let's see if we can figure out who the dad was. All right, because I can't picture John Carradine. But he's the dad, so he would have started the whole thing off. Yeah, I don't recognize this dude at all. Here. Here, I don't know. Let me see. John Carradine. There we go. You ever seen this guy? This is their dad. This is the father of the Carradine family. Honestly, he looks like kind of a dick, doesn't he? Although he's got that long Carradine face, doesn't he? He's got like a long Carradine face. Okay, I can see that. Like a poor man's, what do they call it? A Kirkland brand Vincent Price, maybe. Maybe that's what John Carradine was in his career. Definitely creepy looking. All right, now, what do we got here? We got Robert. This is Robert. Robert's the Carradine who took his own life today after a lifelong struggle with bipolar disorder. This one is David, right? Or is that Keith? I don't know. David Carradine was Kung Fu, right? If you're old enough, you remember that show Kung Fu. I never watched it. It looked terrible. Even at like 6 years old, I'm like, he's not Chinese. Is he Chinese? He looks Chinese. And he's just going to walk around? That's the show? I'm going to pass. I'm going to pass on Grasshopper and Kung Fu. Never watched it. Never liked that stuff. I was raised by women. Maybe that has something to do with it. I was watching all my children in General Hospital while all my friends were watching Kung Fu and SWAT, stuff like that. All right. So David Carradine, the other brother who played in Kung Fu and had a career resurgence thanks to Quentin Tarantino because of the Kill Bill movies, we know that David passed away by suicide, or was it an accident? He was autoerotic asphyxiation, which is not a great way to go. Jeez. I mean, I have enough fear of, just having a natural aneurysm or a heart attack while doing that. I don't need to be rushing it along with, some strangulation. I don't need to introduce that. No. Could you imagine that? You know that like old dudes have been found dead masturbating. That's got to be the worst. Nobody talks about it, I'm sure. So it's like, well, he was struggling when he died. All right, so two of the Carradine brothers have now committed suicide, or at least died by a suicide. Okay, that's the dad again. Okay, we're looking at the dad. All right, now, who are the Carradine brothers? Let's see if we can get a whole picture of the Carradine brothers, right? And then we'll try and pick them out. Keith is left. Now, who's Keith? Keith Carradine. This is a good one. Keith Carradine is actually, I think Keith is the Oscar winner, right? One of them's like an Oscar winner who had real credibility because of some early roles in the 70s. Another one was on TV, the Kung Fu guy who would later become Kill Bill. And in the third one, like the youngest brother, he was the one that got Revenge of the Nerds, so we all knew him. Okay, here we go. Now, this is going to be Keith Carradine. This is the one that's left. We know him. I don't know where from, though. I mean, he's just, all right, there you go. That's Keith Carradine. This guy won an Oscar. And I think this guy also, like, wrote a song that was really popular. Everybody's talking at me. Isn't that him? I think he won an Oscar for a song that he wrote for a movie that he starred in. Anyway, I'll have to look into that. This is Keith Carradine. I think Keith Carradine might be the cool one. Is Keith Carradine the one who played Buffalo Bill in Deadwood? I think so. He's the cool one. All right. There you go. Anyway, today we added another death trilogy to the gated off celebrity wing up there in heaven. We have 6 death trilogies in the year 2026. The latest one, we start a new one now. The latest one is Eric Dane, actor, 53, died from lateral sclerosis. Not good. Bill Mazeroski, Baseball Hall of Famer, multiple-time batting champ or home run champion and World Series champion. And they're joined by Robert Carradine, of course, Lewis from Revenge of the Nerds. All right, there you have it. That's the way we start the show today. We start the show with some sad dead people. Let me see. You know what? Let me just see the Carradine brothers. Maybe there's a picture of the Carradine brothers. Because are there more? Or is it just the 3 and now there's just the 1? Let me see. See, the Carradines were never like big enough. Like they were always celebrities, but they weren't like super A-list, like where I'm trying to, like, maybe the Baldwins had Alec. At least Alec was like, an A-list. He could open movies and all that. The Carradines could never do that. Could they? I don't know. Maybe in the 70s. Carradine brothers. There we go. Let's see what we got here. No, I don't want Google. All right. Who do we got here? Christopher Carradine, Bruce Carradine, Rob. I don't know who any of these people are. Who's Christopher and Bruce Carradine? All right, let's look. Here we go. I'll put this up for you. We'll scroll through. We'll try and figure out who the brothers are. Excuse them. Here we go. All right, what is this? All right, what do we got here? All right. These are the big three. All right, these are the big three Carradine brothers. This is good. This is Keith, okay? This is David. He's dead. Autoerotic asphyxiation. This is Robert Lewis from Revenge of the Nerds. He died of suicide. Don't know how. Is that all right? That's David and Keith. David and Keith, they look like, man, well, they are brothers. I mean, you can definitely tell that they are brothers. Oh, that's a shame. Look at them. Oh, younger. Look at these two. All right, back in the 70s. All right, you got one guy coming off Kung Fu. He's getting laid. And then you got the other guy. He's doing Robert Altman films. I believe it was Nashville that he starred in. Writing music. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right. Only Keith is left. Keith Carradine is the only one that's left. But now I need to know. Now I need to know. Hold on. Now I need to know what if Keith actually won the Oscar. Because one of them's like got a little bit more stroke than the other ones. All right, here we go. Oh, shit. Martha Plimpton? Martha Plimpton is Keith Carradine's daughter? I didn't know that Martha Plimpton was involved in the whole Carradine family thing. There you go. All right, let's see. Keith Ian Carradine, he's the one that is still alive. Born in 1949, he's an American actor. In film, he is known for his roles as Tom Frank in Robert Altman's Nashville. Yeah, that was the good one. That was the big one. He won something for that. He is a member of the Carradine family of actors, which began with his father, John. Any awards? Let's see. Music. Did he do music? I thought he wrote that song. Music and songwriting. Here we go. His brother, David. David is the one who died via autoerotic asphyxiation. His brother, David, said in an interview that Keith could play any instrument he wanted, including bagpipes and the French horn. Like David, Keith integrated his musical talents with his acting performance. In 1975, he performed a song he had written, I'm Easy, in the movie Nashville. It was a popular hit, and Carradine won a Golden Globe and an Oscar for Best Original Song for the tune. All right, what song is that? What song did actor Keith Carradine write? And that's like, because I'm easy home, easy like Sunday morning. And that's, that's the Commodores, right? I think so. All right, let's see. Keith Carradine. How do you spell Keith? Is it an E or an I? E-I-E-I-T. I always get screwed up with that. Keith Carradine. All right, let's see. I'm Easy. All right, we'll give a quick little listen to this. This won an Oscar.
Steve, if you're just playing to take me. Yeah, I'm easy. Take my hand and pull me down.
That sucks. All right, never mind. It's not the one I thought it was, but there you go. All right, he won an Oscar for that. Keith Carradine, the only Carradine that is left. At least the movie guys, movie Carradines. All right, let's see here. Spent too much time on the Carradine family, but hey, you know what? I am obsessed with death. Once again, a big thank you to Heidi. Heidi's our executive producer of today's show. You can support the show as well. Simply drop a little something in the Cash App or whatever. Peter says it's a crappy song. Peter's like, that's a crappy song. To be honest, I don't like to just, I don't know. It's not my style. Like, I can tell it's not my style. It sounds like a little bit too 1970s ponytail. I'm a sensitive guy. That kind of a thing. Like, you guys are like, wow, what a shit song. We don't know that it's a shit song. We listened to out of context a couple of clips. You got to give it a time. All right. I just didn't want to give it the time. I just didn't want to. Michael says that the Long Riders had all three brothers in it. It's probably the picture that we showed of those guys all dressed up as cowboys. I didn't realize that. Peter says the Commodore song is just called Easy. should be called I'm Easy, because I'm easy. Let's see. What else? 18-year age difference we're seeing between the brothers, I guess. All right. Let's get into the other stuff that we have today. We got a lot of stuff we got to run through today. Mexico. Let's talk a little bit about what's happening there in Mexico. A couple of days ago, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum, she went after El Mencho, still the best cartel leader name ever. El Mencho. I love it. He's a mensch. He's a good dude. He's El Mencho. They killed him. He's somebody that everybody acts like they knew who he was. Nobody knew who fucking El Mencho was. All you alpha dorks on Twitter, I saw one funny little Twitter thing going around. It was basically everybody watched one season of Narcos and now they all think they're experts on cartels. It's so true. Social media is just such an endless opportunity for people who are egomaniacs to momentarily pretend to be experts in their chosen field, whatever it is. Well, I just read an article. I just Googled an article, and now I'm going to parrot everything that I read here, and you're all going to think I'm an expert in Mexican cartels. Shut up. You're a plumber. Fix my toilet. So anyway, after they killed El Mencho, all hell broke loose as his cartel guys, they targeted some cities all across Mexico. It happened all across Mexico, but what we were most concerned with, although barely, because American media barely covered it while it was happening, was that they seemed to be causing trouble in targeted tourist destinations, Puerto Vallarta being the most covered one. But they were also doing things in Cancun and Tulum and like all over the place. They were doing stuff. They were just throwing a fit. I told you yesterday, what they did in Puerto Vallarta was they blocked off the entrances, the main arteries, the main roads into Puerto Vallarta. They seized city buses. They told everybody to get off the bus, and then they lit the buses on fire. Essentially blocking the intersection so that, people couldn't get in or out of the city. It was a tantrum. They threw a tantrum. What they could have done, and they didn't, thankfully, they could have stormed the resorts. Don't think that these resort destinations weren't specifically targeted because of the potential for hostages. That is exactly what these places in Mexico are. These are major cities on weekends when, or during the high season. These cities have 100,000 Americans and Canadians in hotels in Puerto Vallarta on Sunday when all their flights were canceled, when all the streets were blocked off, when all the stores were closed. I mean, that's a real problem. And I hope it was noticed. I hope Mexico went, oh, fuck, this could have gone so badly, because it really could have gone badly. They could have seized one resort. One group of just cartel soldiers could have taken over a resort and held thousands of Americans and Canadians and wherever else you're traveling from hostage. That didn't happen. And it looks like things are slowly getting back to normal. The violence as being perpetrated by the cartel seems to have diminished. They seem to have gone home for the night. They're cleaning up all of these areas. The airports are still running woefully behind. There are people stranded. There are people that are still they were supposed to come home on Sunday and they're still stranded. So what do you do? What do you do as a wealthy white person who's stranded in Mexico? What you got nowhere to go? Nothing's open. Everything's kind of like a war zone. What do you do? What do you do when you're able to stay at a fancy resort and where's it? Puerto Vallarta. And there's nothing to do, and you see an opportunity. What do? Well, I'll tell you what these white folks did. They decided to loot. That's right, mass looting by tourists. White entitled tourists who are stranded in Mexico are just walking into the burned out stores or whatever. These don't look too burned out. I think I may have just added that. They're walking into these stores and just taking shit. The same people, I promise you, some of these fucks are the same people who sit there and watch black dudes stealing TVs out of windows during riots and go, well, the looters need to be shot. These motherfuckers should be shot. Let's watch these entitled sons of bitches. Could you imagine? Could you fucking imagine? First of all, how dumb are you? You're in a foreign country. What do you think? Your citizenship entitles you to some kind of fucking above the law status? You're stealing shit in a foreign country, you fucking morons. Look at them walking in with their bags. Oh, yeah, looting is the absolute worst. We should shoot looters. These people should have been gunned down by a bunch of Mexican shop owners while they're walking out of their stores with Glad bags filled with stolen merchandise.
And steal things like this for these people. No, stop.
They told us to come in. He's like, well, they told us to come in.
This for these people. No, stop.
Love it.
Yeah.
They're being called out by townies. They're like, you just fucking walking in and you're stealing shit?
It's embarrassing, guys. And you.
I live here. I've lived here 3 years.
Keep saying that's what happens to you.
I'm not gonna rob a place.
That's so embarrassing. And guys want to.
Yeah.
You do notice it's all white people, right? It's all middle-aged, entitled fucking white people just stealing from poor people in a foreign country. What the fuck, man? You can't behave yourself? Go steal a water from the resort. How about that? They got shit at the resort. Stay at the resort. Go root around the kitchen in the resort if you think the rules don't apply to you anymore. But you're just going to walk into a pharmacia that's run by some family and you're just going to steal all their shit?
Well, finally, he decided to come. Están robando las cosas estos gringos, güey. Sí. No, están robando las cosas. Lo estoy exhibiendo.
This fucking guy. Seriously, this fucking guy. Somebody, some like 15-year-old teen from the neighborhood ought to just walk up and break this fucker's jaw.
Gracias.
We try to pay, nobody to pay, we put back.
Although he did leave with nothing, so maybe we don't break his jaw. He seems to have left, at least in this run, this looting run. If you're against looting, you got to be against looting, okay? You've got to be as disgusted by this as you are watching black kids steal gym shoes. But you're probably not. Ask yourself why.
Well, these guys, they put the things back.
All right, there we go. That's how we well-behaved Americans are doing down there in Puerto Vallarta. What else do we have going on today? Anyway, flights are slowly being restored. People who are stranded there. I saw a guy on CNN this morning from Dallas. Black dude went down there for a party. He was gay. He was like a gay black dude from Dallas. And I'm like, man, I bet you were having fun until you weren't. And then it stopped being fun. Anyway, all right, let's see here. What else do we have? Let's delve into Iran for a second because we've got a big State of the Union address today. As I said, it's going to be wild. And, fun. I don't know. Fun. It's going to be wild. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be TV. We don't take anything seriously anymore. We just watch it all on TV like it's one of our shows. And we've got a very special episode of the Trump Show coming up tonight. So we'll all be very excited about that. But in the meantime, we've got this, it's been going on now for a couple of weeks. I mean, at this time last week, they were telling us be prepared for an American invasion of Iran over the weekend. We're going to bomb Iran. We're going to go into Iran. We're going to do this with Iran. I thought this was like weeks ago, and I thought it was specifically because of the way they were treating protesters. Well, they've handled their protest situation. Western media hasn't really covered it, but yeah, the regime, they put it down in the way that regimes typically put down uprisings. And the promise that was made by our president about a month ago at this point was, if you kill any of them, that's a red line and you can't cross it, and we're going to come in. He was saber rattling. We nothing our president says can be taken seriously until he just does it. And then we're like, we didn't think he was serious about that one. he didn't really want to go, into Iran. He was doing that a month ago because the Epstein shit was all over the place. And so he needed to steal a headline or two with something that wasn't about the pedophiles he hangs around with. So he started saber rattling against Iran. The protests, they died down. Actually, to be honest with you, I don't even know if they died down. Here's what I know. I know that we ain't being shown them anymore. I know that in the first couple of days of the protests, it was wire to wire on every news. And then the news media got bored of showing that story to us. So then it just went away, I guess. Probably didn't. There was probably a whole bunch of people that went through some really bad things, and nobody in the Western media, and nobody was there covering it. Now they fucked with the internet. They made that really hard. And then people were like, the protesters wanted Elon to let him use the Skylink, and he's like, nope. He's like, nope. So we didn't really get. At some point, we stopped getting all information out of Iran. But that didn't stop, I guess, the behind the scenes planning. Because again, don't think for a minute that this is about Trump seeing protesters being brutalized and feeling some compassion for their fight. No, this is about Trump doing whatever the fuck Israel wants. Israel is controlling the puppet strings on this president, and they have been now since 2016. We've seen little. By the way, you're like, well, what are you talking about? He's buddying up with the Saudi Arabians. Yeah, the Saudi royal family and the power structure in Israel, they get along fine. This is not the lower level rank and file we hate you because you're different argument. No, these people are all in the super 1%. At the super 1%, it doesn't matter if you're a Jew and the guy sitting having dinner with you is a Muslim. You're all eating fucking bacon anyway because it's all a construct. It's all a construct for us, the people who aren't in the 1%. We're down here. Yeah, Israel doesn't have a problem with Trump and the Saudi Arabia family. Hell, Israel and the Saudi Arabian family are thick as thieves. Not publicly, but behind the scenes they are. How do I know this? Because Trump is the common denominator. We are all led to believe that these people all hate each other. They don't. Something's going on over there, and this is all a plan of the Israelis, and Trump seems to be very willing to play along as long as he can keep his little magical exile gated community in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, Trump's got a whole, the Trump mansions in Saudi Arabia, gated community. You can join him there when he flees to exile. Imagine those HOA meetings. Those are going to be wild. Anyway, Israel really wants this regime in Iran to go away. And they've really wanted it for a long time. And it seems now, because remember, we're removing the protest thing. That was actually admirable a month ago when the president of the United States said, if you squash these freedom fighters and you cross that line, we're going to defend their right. These are, people seeking liberty and all that. That would have been admirable back then. But now it's just like, what the fuck? You got the go ahead from Israel? Is that what's going on? Netanyahu was here last week. This is all about Israel. It's all about doing Israel's work. See, because Israel can't do it directly. Israel can't do it directly because if Israel does it directly, then every little, backward ass inbred Islam terror group that's in that area is going to start making life absolute hell for the citizens of Israel. Buses will blow up, cafes will blow, they don't want that. So Israel can't do it directly. So they need to use a proxy. And that's right. America is now the proxy. We've been using other countries as our proxy to fight our wars for years and years, but this is really the first time that I can remember where the United States of America, is legitimately being used as a proxy to further the interests of a foreign government, that government being Israel. Ugh. So whatever. Is Netanyahu going to be Trump's special guest? Is he going to be like, yeah, what a proud American here, Benji Netanyahu? He's not an American. He's the Israeli. The generals don't want it. This is the story that was leaked yesterday from the New York Times. The generals apparently, and we're naming generals, we are name-checking generals who are telling Trump, we don't want to do this against Iran. But Trump's moving warships, Trump's moving troops, Trump's moving artillery and machinery and all this stuff into the region. Is he bluffing? I don't know. Is he going to do what Israel wants him to do? I don't know. That's where we sit. But the generals are saying this. As the Trump administration weighs an attack on Iran, the Pentagon's top general has cautioned President Donald Trump and other officials that shortfalls in critical munitions and a lack of support from allies will add significant risk to the operation and to U.S. personnel, according to people familiar with internal discussions. General Dan Kane, I didn't even know this guy's name. Did you guys know Dan Kane? He's the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I didn't even know that we still had a Joint Chiefs of Staff. I thought that the Joint Chiefs of Staff was dissolved, and I thought now we just had the Department of War in the Fox Weekend television fill-in host who's running the Department of War. Anyway, Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, he expressed his concerns at the White House meeting last week with Trump. These people said he cautioned that any major operation against Iran will face challenges because the U.S. munitions stockpile has been significantly depleted by Washington's ongoing defense of Israel and support for the Ukraine. Kane's remarks at the White House meeting have not been previously reported. Separately, at a Pentagon meeting this month, Kane also raised concerns about the scale of any Iran campaign, its inherent complexity, and the possibility of U.S. casualties, one person said. The general has said that any operation would be made all the more difficult by a lack of allied support. So we got no support. That's what he's saying. He's like, we're going in alone. There's nobody that's going in with us. The general has said that any operation would be made all the more difficult by a lack of allied support. Speaking like others on the condition of anonymity to discuss private conversations. All right, there you have it. So there's some concerns that we aren't just going to go in and steamroll them the way Russia thought they were going to steamroll Ukraine. At least that's what the generals are advising. And I don't know. What do you know more than I don't know more than a general. I'm just telling you what General Dan Kane, he's being name-checked and quoted, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Be looking for him to resign anytime now. What else do we have? State of the Union tonight. I don't know what else to mention about the State of the Union tonight. It'll be wild. We had this. Did you see this? I wanted to mention this. I suppose we can do this. This is pretty wild. I mean, I don't even know. I'm so tired. I don't even know. Do I have anything to say on this? I don't know what to say. I don't even know what to say about this. Did you see this over the weekend in Washington? They're hanging giant banners of the president's face like we're in fucking North Korea or some African banana republic. I don't even know. Well, the headline is leading you into thinking what you should be thinking, that this is fucking wrong. This is not what we do in America. We do not glorify our elected officials. And that's what this is. This is glorification. Okay? We don't do that. We do not glorify the people that we elect because we exist inside a representative democracy. These people are representatives of us. They are supposed to be us. No better than us. They are not glorified. There is no more grace applied to them than to the rest of us. We are a representative democracy. Our leaders don't get gigantic banners hung from buildings. This is fucking frightening. And it's not frightening like I don't want to be like pearl clutching, like, what are we going to do? Because every fucking day there is another one of these, what are we going to do? Like moments. So let's just not do anything, but we must call them out. We must make sure that this kind of bullshit doesn't happen with the next guy, that the next guy or girl or whatever party gets hot in the moment and ends up in charge of everything. We got to make sure that this kind of shit isn't something we do here. This is how we get kings. This is how, that's the other thing that I'm really upset about. I talk about the civics problem that we have in this country, that we stopped teaching civics to our kids in the 1970s. Civics is it's the entire curriculum of education that teaches you not what America is. That's what people are, oh, it's supposed to just teach you what America is. No, it's not. That is not what civics class is. Civics class shows you and demands of you the responsibilities of being a citizen of this, the greatest country that God ever created. That is what we don't have in this country anymore. An understanding of who we are as a country and why we're different than fucking other places that hang giant banners on buildings to glorify and deify their leaders. We don't even know that we don't do that anymore. We don't even have an understanding of why that would be wrong and what this country is supposed to represent. But no, this guy's doing it because he's getting away with it. And that's where we are. All right. Let's see. What else do we have here? Let's keep going here. Oh, this is a crazy story. All right. So let's get into a little bit of Epstein stuff. By the way, again, bravo to England. You want to shit on England because they're not us? Hell, they ain't us. They got bad food and even worse taste. The English are taking this fucking Jeffrey Epstein and the rape of children and sex trafficking of minors globally. England is taking it fucking seriously. And we should be jealous. We should be humiliated. We should be humiliated that our president is talking about Ghislaine Maxwell and saying shit like, I wish her well. Or when it's brought up to him that Prince Andrew was arrested, he says, well, that's a shame. That's terrible that happens. That's who our guy is. Meanwhile, the king of fucking England is throwing his brother on the fucking pyre. Lord Mandelson is gone. Lord Mandelson is like one of the most important people there. It would be like if we suddenly just perp walk. I'm trying to think of somebody who would be a Lord Mandelson type. I don't want to say Mitch McConnell. I don't want to say Mitch McConnell. What if we like suddenly perp walked Mitt Romney or someone? Maybe that's not a good one either. I don't know. Hey, by the way, for my for my West Wing friends, I posted this yesterday on my Twitter. If you like West Wing, I like West Wing. I'm a big West Wing watcher. To get an idea of who Lord Mandelson was, the guy that was arrested yesterday in England and perp walked in handcuffs in front. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. If you're wondering who that is and you have a familiarity with the show The West Wing, look, he's Lord John Marbury. Do you remember Lord John Marbury, he was the British ambassador to the United States on The West Wing, and he would show up and he would grab girls' asses and he was always half in the bag, kind of drunk. But knew his shit. I mean, that's kind of who this Mandelson guy is. So if you're a West Wing fan, imagine they just perp walked Lord John Marbury, because that would be kind of the closest thing. Anyway, back to the Epstein stuff. So this story broke yesterday, and it's been revealed that there are storage lockers spread out across the United States. U-Haul storage place. U-Haul, you store it, whatever you want. Jeffrey Epstein apparently rented dozens of storage lockers across the country. They're all being operated or were being operated by private investigators that he hired. So, he'll pick up a phone in Tulsa and he'll say, I need a private detective in Tulsa. I want to rent a storage facility and you're going to be responsible for it. Don't ask any questions. And it's been discovered that these storage facilities are stuff from Little St. John, which is more popularly known as Lolita Island. They are stuff from his ranch. There are stuff from his New York townhomes. We're talking about computer equipment and film and all kinds of stuff is promised to be hidden in these spread out storage spaces across the country. So now we got to find them. I'm telling you, this will be the darkest episode of Storage Wars ever. Imagine that one. All right, let's start the bidding on this one. This is from a guy named Jeff. He was a rancher in New Mexico. We're not sure. The darkest storage wars ever. Jeffrey Epstein hid computers, photographs, and other things from United States authorities in secret storage lockers spread out across the country. The New York Times and Telegraph can't reveal. Documents uncovered by the Telegraph. This is in England, London. Documents uncovered by this newspaper show the pedophile paid private detectives to remove equipment from his Florida home in an apparent attempt to prevent investigators from finding them. The documents also show that Epstein rented 6 storage units across the United States and used them to house items from his properties. Did I say dozens earlier? I might have. You're just trying to be hype. 6. He's got 6 of these that are spread out across the country being managed by individual private detectives. He leased at least 1 unit from 2003 when he was part of a Florida social set that included Donald Trump. Credit card receipts obtained by the Telegraph show regular storage payments continued for these storage units until 2019, the year of his death. Earlier this month, the Telegraph revealed that Epstein ordered staff to install secret cameras inside Kleenex boxes at his home after a contact told him the Russians may come in handy. I don't know what that means. The FBI had previously said that there was no evidence Epstein was storing compromising material. Of course they did. And it's unfortunate that we can't believe a goddamn thing the FBI says, because the guy who runs the FBI was drunk in the locker room with the fucking hockey team. Partying over there on our dime. What the fuck, man? Talk about just not even trying to be taken serious. The documents the Telegraph unearthed show that Epstein instructed private detectives to move computers into another lockup after apparently being tipped off about a police raid on his home in the mid-2000s. So he was tipped off because what we are learning now is that the initial investigation down there in South Florida was corrupt as hell. So he was tipped off that they were coming, and he took all of this stuff, and apparently he sent it to a private investigator who then stored it in a used storage place, a place that obviously didn't have a warrant for its legal search. The documents the Telegraph unearthed showed that Epstein instructed private detectives to move computers into another lockup after apparently being tipped off about a police raid on his home in the mid-2000s. Private investigators were also asked to open a secret storage unit in New York on his behalf, while being paid tens of thousands of dollars for their work. All right. We're never going to see it all, and we're never going to know what's real and what's not, because now we've put out there that there are 6 storage units, and any con man looking to make a quick buck over the next 10, 15, 20 years is going to go, I found some Epstein stuff, and they'll get all kinds of attention, and we'll never know if it's real or not. This fucking story sucks. We're not going to know anything about the Epstein stuff. It's just going to peter out. We're going to allow it to happen because there's about 38% of you out there who just cannot fathom the idea that the guy you fucking love with all your heart is a goddamn pedophile. That you just can't handle that. So we're going to pretend that it's not true, and we're going to live in the world where your guy is the greatest. All right. You know what I used to say? I used to say 20 years ago, whenever a group of people just absolutely disgust me, it used to be that they were always like in their 60s, 70s, and maybe at the time I was in my 20s or 30s. But whenever I saw these attitudes from these people, I'd always just say, whatever, they'll be dead soon. It was most commonly something that I used back in, let's say 2002, when somebody who's 68 says something that's obviously racist. I would just say to myself, that's all right. That the whole generation is going to be dead soon. I had no idea they were going to be replaced by their grandchildren, who are even more racist. They didn't die off. They just raised grandchildren who are now Proud Boys. Anyway, I don't know what's happening in this world. I have no idea. All right, let's talk about J.D. Vance, our next president of the United States. Do you think he thinks that? Like, there's no way. I will not live in a country. I shouldn't say that because I probably would have said that about Donald Trump 15 years ago. I probably would have said, I won't live in a country where that fucking clown show is president. Yet here we are, and I'm still living here. So I don't know what to do about J.D. Vance, but what I do know is that if there is beef between J.D. Vance and Father Bob, I'm going to take Father Bob's side all the time. Father Bob's my guy. Father Bob, of course, is Pope Leo. We call him Father. Here on the South Side, we call him Father Bob because that's how we knew him. I didn't know him, but other people did. Everybody on the South Side of Chicago has some connection to Father Bob. It is actually kind of fun. What's your connection? Is your connection better than her connection? Well, I got like an ex-wife who's like somebody like aunt or something went to prom with the Pope's brother. That's a pretty close one. That's pretty good. Anyway, everybody knows somebody who knows the Pope. It's pretty cool, though. I still can't get over it. I still can't get over that as someone who was raised Catholic, who was always sort of looking at the Vatican and looking at the Pope like they were fucking monsters from another planet. They weren't human. I had nothing in common with the Pope. Now I do. Now the Pope and I both love Aurelio's pizza and the White Sox, and I just can't believe that. Can't believe that if me and the Pope were in the same room, we would legitimately have shit to talk about and we might enjoy each other's company. Don't think I could say that with any other Pope ever. Don't think I could. So this Pope is the American Pope. And for some reason, it seems like J.D. Vance is very interested in getting this new Pope to be his friend. Well, this Pope has shown pretty much on every turn that he's going to be cordial and gracious to the dignitaries from the United States. But Pope Leo doesn't seem to like J.D. Vance very much. So the story that broke over the last couple of days was that J.D. Vance rushed, got on a plane, and flew to the Vatican and presented a handwritten note from President Trump inviting Pope Leo to come to the United States this July 4th for Trump's big party. Let's go! If we get to July 4th. I don't know. Trump might fuck around and change July 4th to his birthday. Whatever his birthday is now going to be, we're going to celebrate that. So that was the story. J.D. Vance got on a plane. He flew to the Vatican. He presented the Pope, and the Pope looked at J.D. Vance and said, I am sorry, but I cannot make it. I will not be making it to the United States on July 4th. Here's what he's doing instead. This is his response to J.D. Vance. He said, I'm not going to the United States. Instead, I will be going to the island of Lublalos, some weird fucking Mediterranean island, which is apparently the world's gateway for migrants. So instead of going to the big, missile parade in Washington, is that what they're doing? Are we still doing missile parades? Is that what this July 4th thing? Remember last year sucked? It was terrible. Are we doing the missile parade again? Whatever. The Pope ain't going to the missile parade because instead the Pope is going to go and stand with migrants. And that's what popes do. That's what fucking popes do. Popes aren't there to be a part of the oppressive machinery. Popes are supposed to be there to be the father to the people. And that's what he's doing. He's going down there. Now, remember I told you the story was presented. J.D. Vance got on an airplane, flew to the Vatican, presented the Pope with this handwritten letter by Trump, and Pope said, fuck off, I'm going to help migrants. That is not what happened. That is not even remotely what fucking happened. Yet every headline that I've read has been J.D. Vance humiliated after flying to the Vatican to personally invite. That is not what happened. J.D. Vance went to the Vatican last year in May, and he presented the Pope with a whole bunch of stuff. He gave the Pope a Bears jersey. Remember that? It was very cool. It was very nice. It was in that meeting back in May of 2025 that Pope Leo was handed a letter from J.D. Vance a year ago. He was handed the letter from J.D. Vance that invited him to the 4th of July celebration. A year ago. Not Sunday. Not J.D. Vance didn't have to fly back to America with his tail between his legs and then tell Trump that the Pope said he wasn't going to come to our stupid party. That didn't happen. This was a year ago. A year ago, the invitation was offered. It was just over the weekend that the Vatican released the Pope's schedule for the coming year, and it showed that he was going to be in this place on the 4th of July where migrants are. It has these two things. Yes, he was invited. He's not going, but he's not going because the Vatican put out his schedule, and he's not going to America in 2026. Instead, he's going to do this. It has nothing to do with JD getting on a plane, standing in front of the Pope, and the Pope going, no, fuck you. Yet that's the way the media in this country, when I say media, I mean not the New York Post. I mean the Washington Post. I mean the Chicago Sun-Times. I mean major newspapers completely represented this this story. And they made everyone who read it think that J.D. Vance got humiliated over the weekend when it was a fucking year ago. And it wasn't even an official response to the direct invite. What it was the release of a schedule that shows where the Pope is going to be over the next few months. That's all. God. So there you go. Although I wish it had gone down the other way. I would have loved for Pope Leo to have been fucking rude to J.D. Vance, but he wasn't. Why? Because he's the Pope and because he's a good man and he does things right. They do things the right and proper way. They're not going to do any of this fucking Trump stuff. Sit down, piggy. The Pope would never behave in that way. He is not a boor. He's not a boorish human being. So whatever you think, I think the Pope hates Trump, and I think that's awesome. It's from the south side of Chicago. Of course he hates Trump. He hates Trump, and I think that's awesome. But we don't know that he hates Trump because he told J.D. Vance to go kick rocks and you're not going to your stupid party. That is not what happened. All right. There we go. Here we go. Is this Ross? Popes don't do anything, and the fact that people worship these weird old peds is ridiculous. Spoken like someone who knows fucking fuck all about Catholicism. Dude, the Pope does not do nothing. The Pope does not do nothing. The Pope does a lot. And if you were a Catholic, and if you were somebody who believed in this religion, you would fucking get that. All right. The Pope is the spiritual leader of the church. You're not in the religion. So you're sitting on the outside looking at it going, I don't get it. Well, no kidding. You don't get it. So, but to just marginalize the Pope as being, he doesn't do anything. That's not fucking true. The Pope is incredibly important. Incredibly important to billions of people around the world. Catholicism is a very big thing. Shut your mouth. I don't want you fucking bad mouthing the Pope. All right, you know what? Here's another great point. Look at this. Ross says, using the term leader is wrong too. A representative is not a leader. Yeah, you're right. You are absolutely right. We don't use the term leader in this country. We use the term statesman. That's what we have. We have statesmen and representatives. We don't have dear leaders. Good point. Nice catch, Ross. You're absolutely right. Let's see here. Jeff wants me to do a live stream during the State of the Union. I don't want to do that. I know I should. I'm not here. I'm not staying here at the studio. There might be a period of time where I do stay at the studio. We do some night things. I'm trying to work on that. But I mean, the studio, where we do the studio from is a house. So it's a beautiful house on the south side of Chicago. And, we're just doing this from a room. And, it's my stepdad's house. That's the best way to put it. That's where we're doing it. My mom's husband, and so we do the show from here. And it's about 30 minutes from where I'm staying at the moment. I'm still staying with Mom. By the way, thank you to everybody who sent really nice notes. I appreciate that. Mom's feeling a little bit. Mom's a little under the weather, but we're rallying, and but thank you to everybody who said nice things, so I do appreciate that. But yeah, so I'm staying out there, and if I do it's like this. If I do the State of the Union tonight and I'm not sleeping here tonight, I got stuff that I need to do there, I wouldn't get home till like 11, and then I gotta watch The Pit. Oh, I've been watching The Pit. Oh my God. I might not even watch the State of the Union. I might just watch The Pit. Do you guys watch The Pit? I have ignored The Pit for like 2-3 years now. Everybody's like, you gotta watch The Pit. And I'm like, nope, don't like that shit. And I don't. I don't like seeing people's arms get ripped off in a fucking elevator accident, and that's what The Pit is. It's a hospital show. It's like ER. But it's good. It is really good though. It is. I watch half the scenes, like all the scenes in the. Here's the point of the show. If you're unfamiliar, it's on Max, HBO, whatever. Stars Noah Wiley. Yeah, and it doesn't just the ER connections don't just stop there. It's all the ER people. It is basically ER. They just remake an ER. but it's done a little bit differently because every season is one day at the hospital. So every episode is a different hour of a shift at the hospital. And oh my God, pulse pounding. These people work hard. It's really good. It's good. It's a good show. I like it. Anyway, I'll be watching the State of the Union and then I'll be ripping into season 2. I got to start season 2. I just finished season 1, so I got to start season 2 of The Pit. Anyway, there you go. Highly recommended The Pit. Don't know if you're watching it. Adam likes it. Adam says it's a good show to watch when you don't want to think too much. Oh, I disagree. I think it's the exact opposite, Adam. It is a show where if look, a show to watch when you don't want to think too much is Seinfeld or Arrested Development or It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, right? That's when you don't want to think too much. I cannot, well, maybe this is just me and Adam being different, and I don't mean to like yell at Adam. I just disagree. I can't watch The Pit without having the laptop up, and I have to have the captions on because I have to read. They speak so quickly and they use such technical surgical jargon that I like to look this shit up. So if it's like a 40-minute episode of The Pit with all the pausing and the Wikipediaing that I do, I love it. I've learned so much. I really have. I've learned shit. I did learn stuff about heart attacks, and I've learned stuff about how to stop bleeding. I don't know. I've learned stuff. So I disagree with you, Adam. I don't think it's a good show to watch when you don't want to think too much. I think it's a show to watch when you want to be dialed in and super engaged. Hugh says, I remember a few weeks ago, Pugs was bagging on The Pit. I know. You want to know why I was bagging on The Pit? You want to know why? Because I got people in my life who I respect, my son, who like the show. And they're like, are you watching the show? And I'm like, no, I'm not watching the show. They're like, well, why aren't you watching the show? Because I don't like blood. I don't like blood. I don't like guts. I don't like to watch people just go through really bad things. And I got to be honest with you, that's all The Pit is. The Pit is just one person after another getting really bad news. It's heavy, but interesting. And I don't know, kind of addicted to it. Hugh Morris says season 1 was better than season 2, but last week's episode is picking up. Oh, stop it. I hate all that. Season 1 was better. So why would you say that? Why would you say that to me, Hugh, when I'm about to start season 2? Why are you lowering my expectations? Just stop it. I hate that. I hate when people do that. Season 2. What are you only 6 episodes in to a 15 season? Ugh. It's all right. You're all right. April says my vocal stim right now is Baby Jane Doe. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Oh, here. She said before that, she said, I'm guilty of looking up all the meds or ailments that The Pit shows. Yeah, me too, Ape. You and me, we're the same, man. And like if they open up like a piece of paper and like they read like, oh, here, I got to read this, like a chart, like somebody's chart or something. Dude, I will pause that TV and I will get up in that chart and I will look at what it says. The details are always amazing. I do that a lot with TV shows when they show a newspaper. Have you ever done that? Before you could pause, like I remember doing this with a VHS, like pausing it and then looking at the newspaper that is only on screen for a split second, but if you pause it, you can read it, and then reading the stories in the newspaper, and they're all bullshit. Like back in the day, it would be like just random words that looked like a sentence, but it's not. It's just random words. Not anymore. Man, now when you pause it, because they know everybody can pause shit and they got crystal clear. Now when you pause something, they have to write all of these fake stories. It's really interesting. Anyway, I do that too, April. I stop and I pause and I look stuff up. Hugh says, my friend, we're talking about The Pit now for a couple of minutes. My friend in medicine talk about how accurate it is. Yeah, everybody does say it's pretty accurate, but everybody said that about ER too. That was the thing about ER, was that it was unlike any other hospital show. So following in that tradition. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? We talked about the Pope. We talked about J.D. Vance. Don't want to do that. That we can move on from. Okay, you know what? We'll do this. We got a couple of things here. Let's take a big old shit on our president. Why don't we? I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to show it to you, and we'll go from there, okay? And we'll just talk about what we just watched. This is the President of the United States. Hold on. He's hanging banners, gigantic, like 40-foot banners of his face. Try to get away from it all. So you put on like what? You put on Fox News or some shit like that, and then you get this. This is a commercial that is airing on Fox News.
Hello, everyone. It's President Donald J. Trump, and it's Trump time. Check out this red beauty. It's one of my new watches. Wear it proudly on your wrist, and everyone will know exactly what it's for, who it represents. It's really going to be something special. It's for your favorite president. Get your watch today at GetTrumpWatches.com. These make a great gift. It's Trump time. Hello.
Okay. All right. So that happened. Yeah, you all saw that. President of the United States is doing commercials where he's pitching watches, not for another company that he's endorsing. No, he's pitching his own watches. Are you okay with that? I mean, again, this is like the fucking banners. We can't bite on everything. We can't be fucking appalled by everything. And yet we still are. We still are appalled by everything. At what point does it stop being, I was going to say funny. It's not funny. It is not funny. It is not funny. It is grotesque. I don't even blame the guy. The guy is shooting his shot. He himself, I don't dislike Trump nearly as much as I dislike his followers. I don't dislike Trump nearly as much as the people who still see this shit and go, no, that's totally okay for the president to be making a whole bunch of money. Selling fucking shitty watches to fucking dupes. Understand, he knows the audience. He knows that his dumb fucking voters will buy whatever the fuck he puts his name on, and he's going to take all your dumb fucking hillbilly money, and you people still fucking think it's okay. There's nothing we can do with those people. Are those the 15% that I always talk about on the right? 15% with the Trump watches and the hats and the closet filled with shit, and they don't think that he had anything doing with Epstein, and they just knew each other, and that he didn't know that he was. Are you one of those fucking people? Because you people, I just can't do it anymore. And there's got to be enough of you for Trump to think that I should run these commercials on Fox fucking News, where we'll sell the dumbest people in America a piece of shit garbage watch with my name on it. The exploitation of his most faithful doesn't end. I don't care. At this point, you fucking idiots. Like I say, I can't even blame him. I don't blame him. He's a bad guy who's just taking advantage of a situation. He has effectively drilled directly into an oozing geyser of stupidity. And these people are going to back him, and they will buy whatever the fuck he wants them to buy. None of you are going to be able to afford them Trump mansions, though. That's the problem. He ain't taking any of you fucks with him. Although maybe if you check the website, there might be some maintenance jobs. You can come and you can clean his fucking toilets. Maybe that's something he'd let you do with your shiny fucking Trump watch. You fucking morons. All right, let's move on. I just can't handle that. I just can't handle that. What are we doing, people? What are we fucking doing? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm getting all in on the war that is brewing between Candace Owens and Erica Kirk. Erica Kirk, of course, the widow. God bless her. Programming. We love the widows. Oh, she's a widow. God bless her. She can do no wrong. She's a widow. She's a widow, right? Programming. Yeah, don't fucking let any facts or anything else enter in. Just, she's a widow. So there's a fight breaking out on the far lunatic right. And yeah, this is why it's fun. This is why it's fun for all us normal people to watch, because here you got Candace Owens, who is a special kind of nutty. And then you've got like turning point in the whole Charlie Kirk mechanized war machine that is now sprung up in his death. Isn't that weird? Like when he was running it, it was like bad people just with bad ideas and shit. But in his death, the vacuum that has been created has been filled by some of the most, well, you've got the big dark money crowd that is now in there, and they have elevated his widow, Erica Kirk, to a position of, well, I mean, she's almost more prominent than Charlie Kirk was. I would argue that because of the death and the widespread global attention, I would argue that Erica Kirk runs a far more powerful and high-profile turning point than Charlie Kirk ever did. Charlie Kirk ran a fringe far-right thing that, got a lot of hits on YouTube and all of that. And Turning Point became its own sort of cottage industry of, far-right youth kind of propaganda. That became a thing. But it's nowhere near as big as it is now. As soon as Charlie was eliminated, then all the fucking dark money guys came in. They elevated the wife to a, position up there. The widow. Why? Because she's a widow. Because, again, programming. She can do whatever the fuck she wants because she's a widow. She's a widow. And she's been doing some pretty weird things. We've been documenting some of this. I feel completely comfortable saying this because, I was Charlie Kirk's baby. My mother became a widow at 22 years old. I was 6 months old. So when people were crying and pearl clutching in the days and hours and weeks following the assassination, the murder of Charlie Kirk, I was saying, don't worry about those kids. Don't worry about the kids. What about his baby boy? And I'm like, his baby boy's never going to remember this. Trust me, I've been there. I'm not going to remember any of it. This is just a rando date. It's all going to bleed together because his baby boy is like, 10 months old? Baby boy's going to be fine. You start to worry. Kid gets above 3-4 years old, then you start to worry. But the baby's going to be fine. And I know this, again, because I was the baby. And I also feel comfortable talking about the way Erica Kirk has been behaving, because she's been behaving in a way that I don't think is very appropriate for a widow. I'm not alone in this. A lot of people have said it. She seems to be really leaning into the fundraising and the merch sales and the bigger parties and all of that. And it's all for Charlie. It's all for Charlie. So that's what's going on with Erica Kirk. Now, I don't really understand because I'm not nuts and I don't follow this stuff as closely as some of you fucking lunatics do. But I don't really know what Candace Owens' problem is here. I just know that she's got a problem and I like it. When the call comes from inside the house, I enjoy it. Right? And this is what's happening with the right. And this is why they're just going to get their asses handed to them. They're just going to get so destroyed in the midterms. Because they got no enemy. Because the Democrats, for the most part, nobody is standing up and challenging them. Nobody is putting nobody on the left is really putting the bullseye on their, they're still talking about Hillary. And they're still talking about Bill. Let's drag Bill and Hillary in front of by the way, that's coming up. Let's drag Bill and Hillary in front of, you fucking people got nothing. And when you don't have a known enemy, what you do is you turn to the people who you agree with on most things, but why not? They're convenient and you're just a piece of shit who likes to fight. So that's what's happening. You've got inside the house, inside the crazy far right-wing house, you've got these people, these vultures picking each other to death. And again, I don't exactly know what the background is here with Candace Owens and why she's turned so hard on Erica Kirk. But Candace Owens today blew the internet up when she released a teaser for a new multi-part series that apparently she is doing. It is, it's a takedown. Candace Owens is going to try and take down the bull Erica Kirk and Turning Point. So here, let's check this out. This is the trailer. Again, the call is coming from inside the house. These people are supposed to be on the same team.
Erica Kirk has been named the new CEO of Turning Point USA.
My husband's dead. I'm not trying to be morbid, but he's dead.
It's weird to say excited.
Describes her husband's funeral as the event of the century. Merch, hats.
We have 50,000 plus hat orders.
Nobody knows why she's out there in a glittering pantsuit in a recreated tent that her husband tragically was murdered in, throwing merch out.
Everyone grieves differently.
Just let me interrupt here for 1 second. So
if someone's
so the tent thing that Tim Dillon just mentioned there. Hold on, let me see if I can get this. Share it like this. Now that doesn't work either. All right, so, hold on. Figure out how I can do this. Nope, that doesn't work. All right. Yeah, there's no way to do a split screen now. That's not fun. How about that? No. Maybe if I come all the way over here. Nope, that doesn't work. All right, fuck it. Lost my train of thought now. Forgot why I stopped it. Oh, yeah. This is a litmus test for you. This is a litmus test. Do you see anything wrong with Erica Kirk reconstructing the little cabana where Charlie got his throat blown open? When you go to these Turning Point this event, I don't know if it's like a thing that happens more than once, but it definitely did happen at the Turning Point conference. They had reconstructed, well, here. I mean, I guess I can show it to you right here. Hold on. There it is. All right. They reconstructed the tent where Charlie was assassinated in, and then they offered for a fee. They offered for a fee the opportunity to sit in a chair like he was sitting in when he was killed and get a picture taken. Okay. I said this was a litmus test. Do you have a problem with that? Just hearing that, do you as a human being, is there something inside of you? Maybe you can't articulate exactly what it is, but is there something inside of you that goes, Because I don't think all of us have that. I think it's pretty clear. I mean, people paid money to get their pictures taken in a chair in a replica of the place, the environment where Charlie Kirk got his throat blown open. People paid, so they obviously are not the same kind of people as me. It's wrong. And if your pushback is, what's wrong with it? I'm not going to waste my time talking to you, you broken fucking human. What's wrong with it? Are you fucking... Tell me you are a broken person. Tell me that you just not only lack an understanding for empathy and compassion, but you also seem to be really short on morals. It seems immoral to exploit your husband, father of your children, who was murdered in one of the most brutal ways. It feels immoral. Probably because it is. It is. It's just flat out immoral to decide you're going to charge people to get your fucking picture taken. It's not normal. All right, let's continue on. This is a trailer for Candace Owens has announced that she is going in hard on the whole Turning Point structure and Erica Kirk in particular.
50,000 plus hat orders.
Nobody knows why she's out there in a glittering pantsuit in a recreated tent that her husband tragically was murdered in, throwing merch out.
Everyone grieves differently, so if someone's acting weird, don't read into that.
Zionists, the Prime Minister of Israel, all lied through their teeth about Charlie Kirk.
Her operation was in Constanta, the epicenter of Romania's trafficking scandal.
Weird conversations to have with a 15-year-old. I'm going to touch your butt. $8.6 million.
All right, so I don't know about all this stuff. Candace Owens is obsessed with pedophilia because she understands that the fucking tiny brains that she, preaches to, the tiny brains are obsessed with pedophilia. I don't think the tiny brains are real. I think, the underground Hillary Clinton pizza restaurant people, the QAnon weirdos, I don't think those people really have a fundamental principled problem with pedophilia. I just think they know that it is a trigger, again, programming. People know that pedophilia is the lowest thing you can be, right? That's not just like we think it because we've been told to think it. We think that because we know what pedophilia is, and it is the most fucking horrible thing that a human being can do to another child, to a child. We understand that. That's our problem with pedophilia. But I honestly don't think that these people on the far right who call everybody a pedophile and everything is pedophile, I don't think they really take pedophilia seriously. You know, it's like I had a friend, she was a girl. She was dating a guy, and she said that the guy said that he loved her, and she said, I don't know that I believe him. And I go, why? When a guy tells you he loves you, he means it. She goes, he says I love you to everybody. She said, I don't think he really knows what love is. And that's kind of how I feel with these people who accuse everyone of pedophilia. They are either one, pedophiles themselves who are projecting, because if you were a pedophile and didn't want to be found out, you would probably present publicly as somebody who is just disgusted by pedophilia. Because how could you be a pedophilia? You are a pedophile. You are public about how much you find it to be disgusting. Ugh. Just also can we stop talking about pedophilia? Can we just do like 1 year in this country where if you say pedophilia, you gotta go to fucking jail, unless you are a pedophile. Then we don't put you in jail. Then we protect you because the president,
to their own shell company.
What is going on?
We have nothing to hide. My aunt used to tell me, never do something that you don't want on the front page of a newspaper.
Bride of Charlie, an investigative series coming to us from Candace Owens. All right. One thing, I won't be watching that because there's no credibility to it. I just think it's fun. I just think it's fun that they're all turning on each other. All right. Speaking of the madness from the insane right, which is pretty much all we get these days. Let's talk a little bit here about Tucker Carlson and what Tucker Carlson went through a couple of days ago. Is this a couple of days ago? Is this last week? I wanted to get into this. Are you familiar with what's being called the Tucker hoax? So Tucker Carlson, of course, is a big name on Fox News. He got fired from Fox News, and now he's doing his own streaming thing, which is probably better for him. He's probably making a whole lot more, but it's a little bit harder to get noticed when you're doing the streaming thing. Hell, just look at Don Lemon. Don Lemon had to get arrested in a church in Minneapolis to have his fucking podcast reach 1 million viewers, but he got there. Tucker Carlson's got to do things. Everybody's competing. Everybody's trying to be, wild, and it's a contest for the eyeballs. Should I watch Tim Dillon or Joe Rogan today? Well, Joe Rogan is going to light his farts on fire, and Tim Dillon is going to slam his balls in a desk drawer. I don't know. Which one will I watch? They're all trying to out-fucking-nutty each other, is my point. So Tucker, he went into Morton Downey Jr.'s bag. You guys know who Morton Downey Jr. is? You guys remember Morton Downey Jr.? Morton Downey Jr. was back in the 80s and in the 90s. He was... So I knew Morton Downey Jr. a little bit, and I liked Morton Downey Jr. a whole lot. Morton Downey Jr., the dude, was fucking really cool and really nice, and whatever. He was a talk radio host here in Chicago before he blew up. WMAQ is where Morton Downey Jr. was, and he was kind of. He wasn't political, right? He was a shock jock, but he wasn't a shock jock the way Howard Stern was a shock jock. He was a shock jock over on the AM side doing talk radio. And so his shock wasn't the way, a Howard Stern or a Steve Dahl or whoever you want to put in that category. His shock wasn't like, yeah, man, what kind of panties are you wearing? That wasn't his shock. His shock was, there are Nazis living across the street. That was the way he did that form of radio. And he became a very big star here in Chicago. And then he left. He got fired for doing something Morton Downey Jr.-esque. And then he ended up on a TV show in New York. Remember that? Remember the Morton Downey TV show in New York? And he basically blew up from there. When I was producing the Kevin Matthews show here in Chicago, Kevin went on vacation, and we used to bring in guests for the week, to like fill in, like Jerry Springer filled in for 1 week. Morton Downey Jr. was a guy that would come in and fill in for Kevin every now and again. He did it twice in the 7 years that I was on the show. And here's why I like Morton Downey Jr. I was probably a 22-year-old intern the first time that I had to work a full week with Morton Downey Jr. And then 5 years later, he came back and he did the exact same show. And that son of a bitch remembered my name. That dude remembered me. That dude made it a point to. And I know that seems like, well, that's not a big deal. No, that's the kind of shit that goes a long way with me. If you are a guy like Morton Downey Jr. and you've got some 19, 20, 21-year-old kid running their ass for you, doing everything you want. You need more coffee, Mr. Downey. You need this, Mr. Downey. You need whatever, Mr. Downey. Hey, kid, can you run down to the newsstand and get me 3 newspapers? All of those things. If you're a star like Morton Downey Jr. and you've got a kid doing those things for you, it is fucking important to that kid to know that, well, at least, he fucking knows who I am. And that really impressed me about Morton Downey Jr. It's also the thing that impressed me most about a guy named Gary Meyer, who you guys don't know. Gary Meyer was like that as well. Just, he remembers me? Really? So anyway, Morton Downey Jr. was big on stunts. And at the height of his fame in the mid-1990s, Morton Downey Jr. pulled a stunt in the San Francisco airport. He claimed that he had been attacked by Nazis. A swastika was spray painted on his face. A big chunk of his hair was shaved off. Not enough that it couldn't be fixed by hair people for TV and all that. But enough to look like somebody did something. It was a hoax. Morton Downey Jr. did it for the attention. There's the 90s. Now this is an everyday thing, right? People do things for attention, the hoaxes and all that stuff. So anyway, Morton Downey Jr. became famous for it. Jussie Smollett the first, if you will, Morton Downey Jr. Nazis beat me up. So Tucker, who is now fighting that, war for eyeballs with everybody from the Erica Kirks to the Candace Owens to the Tim Dillons to whoever the fuck it is, Benny Johnson, all of these fucking people who are all at each other's throats now because they're fighting for the same audience. They need to do things to get attention. Tucker, one of the things that he's been doing for the last couple of months is that he has kind of turned on Israel. Tucker has, to the shock of a lot of people, become more pro-Palestinian than I think anybody ever thought that he would. He did this because he saw a strategic advantage of being the guy on the right who could make this counter argument and therefore maybe strafe off a couple of new people who will come to him and he'll create his own new right-wing pro-Palestine thing. Whatever, but this is how you think. This is how you have to think about, if I go this way with this story, who am I going to lose and who might I win over? So he has made a real commitment to the idea that Israel, and again, I'm not a Tucker Carlson fan, but I don't think he's wrong here, that Israel has undue influence over the United States, and this has caused some problems for him, especially in traditional right-wing conservative circles. So Tucker Carlson went to Israel, and as he's going through the airport in Israel, he apparently had some problems. To hear Tucker Carlson tell it, Tucker Carlson reported that he was basically abused and treated wholly unfairly by the Israeli government simply because he, Tucker Carlson, has the nerve to speak out against the Netanyahu oppressive regime. Turned into a whole thing where Tucker Carlson ran with the idea that he was specifically targeted in Israel and treated poorly simply because he is a man who has an opinion that differs from Netanyahu. All right, that was the story. Let's see here. Let me give you by the way, Tucker Smollett was trending while this story was big. I thought that was pretty funny. Let's see here. Ex-Fox News star roasted over Israeli airport sob story. Former Fox News host Tucker Carlson has been the subject of unrelenting scorn in the hours since his claim to have been mistreated at Israel's Ben Gurion airport. On Wednesday, the Daily Mail published a story under the headline, "Tucker Carlson detained in Israel. Journalists dragged into interrogation room as explosive interview sparks diplomatic firestorm." That is probably a headline and a narrative variant of this story that Tucker would have appreciated. That's what Tucker wanted out there. The Daily Mail published a story, Tucker Carlson detained in Israel, dragged into interrogation room. Right. Quoting now from the story, men who identified themselves as airport security took Tucker's passports, hauled their executive producer into a side room, and then demanded to know what we spoke to Ambassador Mike Huckabee about, Tucker Carlson told Daily Mail reporter Philip Nieto. All right, so Tucker flew to Israel to have a sit-down conversation with the United States ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee. He did the interview, and as he was leaving the country, he was pulled aside and he was questioned, according to Tucker Carlson, about the details of the conversation that you had with Mike Huckabee. Because again, Tucker Carlson needs the story to be that Israel is run by a bunch of oppressive fascists who won't allow him to get the truth out. This is the sizzle he's selling. All right. Tucker's version of events was disputed by both American and Israeli authorities at the airport. A U.S. Embassy spokesperson said that Carlson received the same passport control questions that countless visitors to Israel, including Ambassador Huckabee and other diplomats, receive as part of a normal entrance into the Israeli state. It is not accurate that Israel only was going to let Tucker into the country for the interview. That's what Tucker claimed. They would only let me in for the interview. I couldn't do anything else. Oh, really? What, were they just going to follow you around? If you went to the coffee shop in the main floor of the hotel, were they going to arrest you? What do you mean by this? It is not accurate that Israel was only going to let Tucker into the country for the interview. The only engagement the embassy had with Israel about Tucker's visit was to coordinate his private plane landing at a part and facilitating a seamless visit through the airport. It was Tucker who chose to only come into the country for a few hours and then depart a few hours later. And Tucker received the same positive treatment of any visitor to Israel, added the spokesperson. Israel's foreign ministry, meanwhile, issued the following statement from the country's airport authority. Contrary to reports, Tucker Carlson and his entourage were not detained, delayed, or interrogated. Mr. Carlson and his party were politely asked a few routine questions in accordance with standard procedures applied to many travelers. The conversation took place in a separate room within the VIP lounge solely to protect his privacy and to avoid conducting such a discussion in public. No unusual incidents occurred, and the Israeli Airport Authority firmly rejects Tucker Carlson's claims of events. Okay, all right. So now I got some more information here for you on this, okay? So here's what happened. Here's what we know happened. We know that Tucker Carlson claims that he was being persecuted in the airport because he was interviewing Mike Huckabee about things that the Israeli government didn't want him talking about. That is Tucker's narrative to get clicks and all of that. What really happened was motherfucking Tucker Carlson flew in his fancy fucking Swanson frozen food jet, landed at the private entrance to the airport, and was funneled through the celebrity wing of shit. This is a regular thing in Israel. They have in basically every international airport in a major city has this. I don't even know if you know it, but there is a whole celebrity fucking wing now. It used to be in the 70s that a celebrity would just fly on a normal plane and they'd get off and they'd walk through and then TMZ would be there and be like, hey, how was your trip to the Bahamas? Or whatever. That doesn't happen anymore because all celebrities fly private now. They all fly private. Didn't used to. You used to be able to see celebrities, movie stars, rock stars, whatever, occasionally on an airplane in the 70s and the 80s. Not anymore. It's all private, and every major airport now has this really exclusive, incredibly elite section that is only known by the super rich, of which Tucker Carlson is one. So Tucker's private plane flies in, right? Lands. He is given an expedited thing through because that's what celebrities get. And then when it's all over, he starts tweeting about what a horrible, horrible experience it was. Well, the problem with that is that airports, especially in motherfucking Israel, have cameras everywhere. So we now have video of Tucker Carlson being relentlessly. You got to see this, okay? You got to fucking see this. First of all, let me show you this. Where is the video of here you go. Okay, so here is video from the airport of Tucker Carlson going through this horrible, horrible experience. His rights as a journalist are being infringed upon by an oppressive Netanyahu government. All right, here, this is airport security. This is Tucker Carlson being relentlessly fucked with because of his opinions. Watch this. All right, here we go. This is Tucker, I believe, in the middle. I believe this is Tucker signing the documents. When you go through, this is a special celebrity section where they pull celebrities out and they don't have people gawking and they're not in line and all that kind of stuff. And I'll show you how we know it's the special celebrity section, not the scary side room where they fucking interrogate drug traffickers. No, this is the celebrity room where you have to go through these things in order to enter the country. Let's watch how Tucker was treated, because remember, he said that it was very oppressive. What is he taking celebrity pictures? Wait, these are the people that were oppressing him. Why is he taking buddy pictures for the airport's website? No, yeah. Oh, yeah. There is a whole website of just pictures of celebrities who have passed through the celebrity wing of the fucking airport. And this clown is now in there, even though he's claiming that this was a terrible experience and that these people were monsters. Fuck. Hold on. Did I lose it? Let's keep watching it. We're going to watch from the beginning. All these people do is lie to you, and you don't care because you're entertained by them, because they are entertaining. But they are fucking lying to you. And then by osmosis, you walk around going, I was entertained, and now I think this. That's how they get you stupid. This fucking guy. Look at how contentious this is. He's got his jacket. All right, there you have it. That's the super contentious situation from the airport. The airport authority released that because Tucker's full of shit. Here's some other snaps. Let's see here. Let's play Name the Celebrity. We saw Tucker taking his picture. When things go well, they take a picture with the celebrity, and then the celebrity gets to be, whatever. Okay, here we go. Who's this? Oh, look at that. There's Michael Douglas taking the same kind of picture there. Going through the celebrity wing, Michael Douglas. Who else? Oh, Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi with a couple of Israeli airport people having a terrible experience there. That's the tennis player, right? I don't know tennis. Tennis player, look at him. He's like, hey, you're treating me badly, just like Tucker Carlson, taking my picture. All right, there you have it. Anyway. I get angry at these people. I get angry at these super successful people on the right. I get angry at these super successful conservative pundits and all of that. I get angry at them because they're just lying. And I get angry that they're lying. But I don't think that's where my anger should rest. I don't think I should be angry that they're lying. This is like Trump with the watches. They're just shooting their shot. I think what I'm angry at is you for allowing it. For you, for going, oh, well, that's cool. Tucker is such a beacon of truth and honesty that the Israeli government is treating him like a... It's the worst. The absolute worst. All right, what else do we have here? All right, let's talk about Ohio, the worst white people in America. Now, you thought I was going to say Florida, right? Nah, there's too many brown skins down there. There's, it's not just what. Look, Florida is the craziest state. We know that, but it's, you got crazy Latinos, you got crazy black, you got crazy white. It's a really nice mix of people. When crazy things come out of Florida, it's usually like, racial bingo. It's like, oh, I wonder what that was. It's not always a white guy. You know what state where it's always a white guy? Ohio. That's right. Ohio. Ohio is the absolute epicenter for white trash in this country. And I'm tired of Florida getting all the credit. Let's focus on Ohio here, okay? Ohio, home to the worst white people in America. First, let's talk about the mayor of Butler, Ohio. Let's get a look at this guy. First of all, and I'm not shitting. I'm not even kind of shitting. Hold on. Can I open this? Come on. Show me the picture. There's a really good picture. Here he is. Okay. Okay. Here he is. We'll show you this picture. And I'll tell you is, actually, no, maybe we'll just watch this video. This is the mayor of Butler, Ohio. His name, and I shit you not, is Mayor Dingus. Mayor Dingus there of hold on, is this one? Nope. Oh, I have the wrong one. I'm sorry, we'll do this one. Got to get you Mayor Dingus. Got to get you the story of Mayor Dingus. Yeah, we'll go with that one. Okay, here we go. Let's watch this. This is the mayor of Butler, Ohio.
Say goodbye to your old, worn-out comfort system with Cobella. For a limited time, buy any new
fucking thing. I can't even make it quiet. I can't even, there's no like volume. Oh, maybe there is. There it is. Okay, here we go. All right, hold on. We'll show you what Mayor Dingus of Butler, Ohio was getting into. And we've got more. Don't worry. We've got more from Ohio. Here we go. I don't want the CCs.
An underage girl accuses him of spying on her.
All right, wait, here you go. All right, here you go.
A mayor near Mansfield is in hot water. An underage girl accuses him of spying on her by going into her bedroom and rummaging through her underwear. Our Harry Boomer has more details from the Richland County Sheriff's Office. Harry, this is disturbing and very bizarre.
To say the least, Nicole, the young girl says she noticed that some of her clothes.
Okay, so this is the second time that I've watched this, and Harry Boomer seems great. First of all, that's a great name, Harry Boomer. But when I first saw him, I was like, that's a reporter? I go, that looks like a guy they're going to interview about the carjacking that happened on the corner. This doesn't look like a reporter, but whatever. Okay, we're not going to be distracted by that.
Spying on her by going into her bedroom and rummaging through her underwear. Our Harry Boomer has more details from the Richland County Sheriff's Office. Harry, this is disturbing and very bizarre.
To say the least, Nicole, the young girl says she noticed that some of her clothes had been moved. That made her suspicious, so she placed a hidden camera to confirm what she thought was happening. After viewing the video, the Richland County Department of Children's Services was contacted, and that started the ball rolling. This is Mayor Wesley Dingus of Butler, Ohio, a town of fewer than 1,000 people near Mansfield.
He looks like a dingus. Butler. I mean, you got butt, you got dingus. I don't know. It's very perfect.
Dingus is facing 2 counts of voyeurism after he was allegedly caught on camera sniffing a teen girl's underwear.
All right, so here's the question that I have. Now, I've read 2 news stories about this, and I've watched this. I haven't seen this whole report, so let's see. When you look at these stories, okay, so there's the who, what, when, where, how, and why. That's what any story that you are reading, you need to, as you read the story, you need to answer those questions. Who is this story about? What is this story about? When did this story occur? Where did this story occur? Who, what, when, where, how? How did this person do this in this story? And then finally, why? Why? So when I see these stories, I always ask those questions. In modern journalism, though, they're almost never all answered. This one, I can't get the how. I can't get to how. I understand that the mayor of Butler was sniffing a girl's panties, and to the point where the girl set up a camera in her room because she suspected that somebody was coming in and moving her panties around. So she set up a camera, and then when she's sitting in class, she gets a notification on her phone that there's been movement around the camera. She checks on it, and she sees the mayor of the town she lives in her bedroom sniffing her panties. They nowhere in this story, either written or broadcast, have I seen, explain how. Is this her stepdad? They don't say that. How is he in her house? How is he banging her mom? They don't fucking say that. Anyway, continuing on. Let's see, maybe they will in this story. Like I said, I didn't get this full story. I only read it from the Cleveland newspaper.
Went to Butler and spoke with the chief of police, Eric Winbickler, who wouldn't say much.
It's basically that the village council is aware of the incident and the charges, and they're going to be discussing it here, undetermined date, but sooner than later.
He referred me to the Richland County Sheriff's Office.
We'll be more than happy to.
Harry Boomer is just like, why don't you get a shot of me laboring to walk up these steps here? It's like, look at him.
Of the
get a shot of me
and the
walking
charges, and they're going to be discussing it here, undetermined date, but sooner than later.
He referred me to the Richland County Sheriff's Office.
Just fucking, that's such a weird shot choice for this package.
We'll be more than happy to give you all the information that we have for the public records request, but at this point, we think the report speaks for itself.
Okay.
Why is he wearing a hat? When was the last time you saw a news reporter on your local news wearing a ball cap? Harry Boomer is way too casual.
All right. Well, I'll be glad to receive that.
The report states that the victim placed a hidden camera in her bedroom after suspecting Dingus had been in there before when she wasn't home.
All right, how? That's answer the fucking question. How? How is he in her bedroom when she isn't home? You have not told us the relationship. This is an incomplete story. Fail.
She said video showed that he picked up 2 pairs of her underwear and smelled them for several seconds. Dingus was in court this morning. He was released.
Just look at him. He's the mayor. I was smelling a 14-year-old girl's underwear. I'm never going to live this one down.
It's on a $10,000 bond.
Butler's a relatively small town, so everybody knows everybody. So I'm sure you know the mayor.
Yes.
Just in terms of just disappointed or what? I mean,
I wish I was in a position to say, but I can't. I'm in a position where innocent until proven guilty. I'm in a position where I have to uphold the law here.
All right. Yeah, come on. Tell us how he's getting
Again, Mayor Wesley Dingus was charged with 2 counts of voyeurism, 1 for each time he was allegedly caught on tape. In Richland County, I'm Harry Boomer, 19 News.
Oh, Harry. Harry didn't give us the who, what, when, where, how, and why. He didn't. How? They never said, well, is it just normal for the mayor of this town to turn up in bedrooms of teenage girls sniffing their underwear? And can we talk about that too? Yeah, I'm re-binging The Sopranos. I'm re-binging a bunch of shows. Episode of The Sopranos that I just ripped through a couple of weeks ago had Paulie Walnuts showing up at Christopher and Adriana. Yeah, Paulie Walnut shows up at Christopher and Adriana's apartment in the middle of the night, right? Christopher's just been officially made, and now he's got to kick up to Paulie, so Paulie's kind of busting his balls a little bit. Paulie shows up at Christopher and Adriana's apartment middle of the night, and he's like, hey, give us some money, kid, blah, blah, blah. And, Paulie's rooting around the apartment, and Christopher's got to just sit there and watch him do it. Paulie goes into Adriana's room, opens up her panty drawer, pulls out some panties, and goes, sniffs the panties right in front of Christopher. And Christopher's like, oh, fucking Paulie. Bugged him. Anyway, my point is this. What? What is that a thing? I've seen it depicted. Obviously, I saw it depicted in The Sopranos and, panty sniffer. I've heard that before. But what are you getting? Let's say this is a panty and I'm the mayor of Butler, Ohio, and I'm for some reason in some 14-year-old girl's bedroom, and I pull out the panties and I go, what am I getting from that? I don't get, is there a smell? Is that what I'm hoping for? That I get the smell? Oh God, just fucking. The point is this. I don't know what that is, but there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you if you think it could be something. Like if I had a girl's panties, like, first of all, keep me away from little girls' panties, okay? What's the point of that? But even if it was like a grown woman panty, like even if it was a woman that I was madly in love with, I don't know what I would get from. I don't know. I don't get it. All right, there you go. That's the mayor of Butler. That's Mayor Dingus there in Butler, Ohio. He is our first contestant on today's edition of Who's the Worst White Person? All right. Now this next one, well, let me show her to you. Hold on, we'll just show it to you. All right, I'm going to show you this person. It's a young woman, comes to us. It's a high school secretary. Yeah, you already know what the problem is. Look at her. There she is. That's her. That's Alicia Hughes. She's accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a minor student. She got in trouble for it because her husband found out. Her husband found out. But here's the thing. And she's good, right? She's good. As far as she's good looking. She's a hot teacher. I'm sure that, students walked by the office. She was a secretary in the office. I'm sure students walked by the office to go, oh my God, did you see Mrs. Hughes today? Oh my God. Yeah, she looks cute. She looks really cute. She looks, whatever. All right, there we go. Let's look at her. Here, I'll give you the story. Because again, I don't know how bad this is. I mean, it's certainly bad for her career, but illegal? I don't think first of all, what she did, what's her career? She's not a teacher. She's a secretary. So what are you going to pull her teaching credentials? She's a fucking secretary. All right, let's get into the story. Union City, Ohio. That's right. This one comes from Union City, Ohio. A high school secretary was arrested for inappropriate conduct with a minor after her husband found her with a student. That's the way the story opens. Right? The story opens telling us that she was arrested for inappropriate conduct with a minor. And then we learn a couple of sentences down that the kid's 18 years old. He's not a minor. He's not a minor. It's still bad. It's definitely bad. According to the Union City Police Department, Alicia Hughes' husband found her with an 18-year-old student and confronted them. I need more details. I need way more details on that. How do you think the husband found her with the 18-year-old? 18 is not a minor. Just throwing it out there. Again, not go if she was a teacher, you'd be like, well, it's still inappropriate. You can't have a relationship. But she's a secretary. I don't know what this means. What? She's like a 25-year-old secretary at a school who was having sex with an of-age 18-year-old, and yet the news story says it's a minor. So investigators determined that Hughes and the minor engaged in sexual intercourse on at least 5 occasions. Hughes was arrested and charged with 5 counts of child seduction. He's 18! Unless maybe some of these happened before his birthday. I really don't understand the story. Investigators determined that Hughes and the minor student, who's 18, it's not a minor. It does, however, say that the husband suspected her of having engaged in a sexual relationship with a separate high school student who was only 17. But that's the husband suspects. The husband caught her with an 18-year-old. And by the way, how do you think that went down? How did the husband catch her? You're picturing it. You're picturing the husband catch her. How did the husband catch her? Did the husband catch them? Were they in a car in the driveway of the house? And the husband's inside the house and he's looking at the car and he's like, what the hell is she doing? What is going on? Probably wouldn't be that, because she probably wouldn't show up at her house with the kid in the car. She would have probably dropped the kid off. If she was going to make out with the kid in front of the house, it would probably have been in front of the kid's house because she's dropping him off. All right, so not that. Did he walk in? Did he come home early from work and she was on the couch with the kid? I don't know. I've got a lot of questions. Anyway, there you have it. Union City, Ohio. Alicia Hughes, and of course, Butler, Ohio, Mayor Dingus. There are two worst white people in America. I'm sorry, she's cute. She's really cute, man. And she looks like Kaylee Cuoco, right? She looks like Kaylee Cuoco if she was like going to Walmart on a Saturday. I think that's a good look. I also stand very firm in my lifelong belief that this woman who had sex with an 18-year-old, she's a school secretary, she had sex with an 18-year-old. I know it's age just a number, but we draw that line. There is a line there that we draw. If you're on one side of 18, it's a problem. If you're on the other side of 18, it's not. This school secretary had sex with an 18-year-old student. I do not think, and again, I've believed this my whole life, that it's a big deal at all. Sorry. Oh, how controversial. I do, however, think it's a big deal if this was a man and it was a female student. I don't think that things are equal, and you shouldn't either. Sexual dynamic and power structures and all of those kinds of things tell us that it is not the same a relationship between a grown, mature man and a young teen girl as it is with a young teen boy and a mature woman. No. We make movies that are celebrated, and we give awards to these movies when it's this woman, the MILF, the Mrs. Robinson, if you will. We're fine with that. So I don't know why when I point it out in real time, people are like, no, it's all the same. It's all terrible. It's not all the same. It's not all the same. A 16-year-old girl who was used and abused in a sexual relationship by a 30-year-old man is probably going to have a whole bunch of problems. They're probably going to have difficulty understanding the sexual dynamic as they move further along in life because they've been groomed by a manipulative, mature man who understood that she was not emotionally ready for this. That is a problem. Flip it, make it an 18-year-old boy, and that 18-year-old boy banged a MILF, and his friends are all high-fiving him, and he's the most famous kid in school, and things couldn't be fucking better for him. He is walking with his chest out and his chin high, and he is like, I'm a fucking baller. It ain't the same. And I know y'all want it to be the same. Everybody wants it to be the same. It's not the same. It's not the same at all. Sorry. Anyway, she's a good one. So that 18-year-old boy, who is absolutely not a minor, I don't know why the story kept saying he's a minor, unless they're pinning one of these instances when he was not 18 yet. Maybe he just turned 18. I don't know. But anyway, good on that guy. Good on that guy. His dad don't care. His mom does. That 18-year-old student, his mom is like, oh, this is horrible. And the dad's like, good job, man. Good job. Good job. You know, it all ain't gonna be that easy. And you understand that she's fucking nuts. All right. That's dad's job. Dad's job's got to be like, okay, this ain't the first fucking hot, crazy chick you're gonna bang. But just you need to know she's crazy, okay? Because she's a grown woman and she's having sex. That's a bad choice. That's a bad life choice. She's crazy. But other than that, good for you, son. Good for you. That's how I think. Adam says, I think your point is correct in that most situations the man has the power dynamic in his favor. Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear you say that, Adam, because I pretty much am certain that you have argued with me on this point before over the years. So it's nice that now you have daughters, you understand that your daughters are far more vulnerable to these kinds of emotional fucking destructive events than boys are. Boys are resilient. Boys, it's just different. As hard as that is for us, you know, everything's the same. A girl can do anything a boy can do. Well, no, a girl is never going to be the fastest person on the planet, and they're never going to hold the deadlift title, right? Let's be honest. There are differences between men and women. Men are physically more powerful and stronger, and I don't know, women are maybe more emotionally in touch with the mood of the moment. I don't know. All right, guys, that's it. I got to wrap this show up. We're done. We're going to be back tomorrow, 3 in a row. Look at us. We're going to do a whole week of shows here. That's my promise to you. I do want to thank our executive producer of today's show. That was Heidi, the great Heidi. She got us back to even a couple of weeks ago. She made it so that I didn't have to struggle and cry and thank you, Heidi. Heidi's our executive producer. If you want to also be a part of this show and keeping it going, drop a little something in either the Venmo or the Cash App, the show. Opposition talk. And when I say opposition, I mean opposition to whatever it is that you can hear in the realm of talk radio. they won't hire me and talk. They should. My numbers are great. I always had advertisers that were sold out, and I can do this fucking job, but I refuse to talk about the things that they want me to talk about. So we do this here, and we've been doing it every day for 5 years, and I'm so happy to have all of you with me. Like, follow, subscribe, support the show if you can in any way. If you can't do it economically with a couple of bucks, then do it with your shares, with your likes, with your comments, all of that stuff. It all helps the algorithm. Together, we will build this into something. It may take 25 years, but we'll do it together. All right, I love you guys. We'll see you back here tomorrow at noon, okay?